Good evening, and welcome back to the Dennis Herrera Show. Sorry I'm so late today. I know I'm slacking. I had a lot of things to do. If you guys already know how this works, I'm glad that you're here with me today. If you caught my earlier live in Mobile One, Dennis Herrera Show, Mobile One, you know that we talked about what's going on in Iran. Good evening, Lone Wolf in the house. Number one, huh? You're the first one to comment. Marvin, how are you, Marvin? Hope you're doing good. You and your family. Hope to Wes, my brother. How are you? Robert, you're finally getting your magnet. You're finally getting your magnet. All the waiting hope has been worth getting it. Just think about this, Robert. It was almost $1,300 for me to fly down to Honduras. And then it was another $300 to $500 to be able to be in the island. And then that souvenir cost $10. I just want you to know total bill for that is about $1,810 for that small magnet that you'll be getting in the mail. And tariffs, man, tariffs are very expensive coming from Honduras into the United States of America. Everybody wants to get their money. You already know it's already on the way. Let's see if Brian gets. I know Brian. Brian is East Coast. A lot of people are East Coast time. That's why it kind of drops a lot. Kramis, how are you? I hope that you are having a nice evening. I am. I'm having a nice evening, but I'm also concerned, about our troops. I know that we got, we got things under control, but I am truly concerned about, fatalities. It's just a matter of time. Mistakes happen. Sometimes it's the enemy. Sometimes it's ourselves. Being in battle is it's not a nice thing. I can tell you this. I've never served, just so you guys, if somebody's wondering. But, you don't have to serve to know that is hard. If you look at the things that you do in life, there's some things that we wouldn't do, or can't do, and these soldiers, they're doing all of it, So I give them props for that. And I hope that, that everything turns out to be okay, the way that we think that it will. I should say the way that we believe. Okay, we should be trusting in God for that. Marvin, stop saying MS-13. I block those comments because I don't like to. I know you don't mean it that way, but I don't like to promote any type of gang stuff in my channel. Okay, I want you to know that if I block you, it's because of that. It's not because I don't like you at all. Let's see. Just had a fat carne asada with wok and cabbage. Double burrito from Lupita's. Life is good. Hoopty West, I am jealous. I just had 3 American hot dogs with mayo, mustard, and some relish. Yeah, it was good. I love it. I love it. Wait, no, it's not relish. What's the green one? Radish is the radish. I don't know what the word in English is. I'm making it up from Spanish. Radish is the white one, right? I'm talking about the green one. I think it's the same. I'm not sure. Nonetheless, I still like it. Let me see who else is here. Hope to Wes, if I could get the transstevia stench to go away, I could breathe. Hey, Robert, you know what? Lately, I have been having a lot of hard time breathing myself. I keep having to take deep breaths more often and more often. So I do have a doctor's appointment coming up this March. We'll get an update on that, and we'll see what the doctor says. We cannot be having heart problems. We haven't hit 50 yet. We don't want to be on that stage at all. Not yet. Although I am ready to meet my maker. I'm a big believer. I'm not saying that I wouldn't be afraid of dying, because what makes me afraid of dying is thinking about my children and leaving them behind. But other than that, I'm good to go. I am Yeah, I don't yearn to live this life. I yearn for living with my God. I want to be able to have that true relationship with Him, and to leave all this sinful nature away. Did you guys know that in heaven there is no sorrow, no pain, there is no worries? You will never get tired. You will never be fatigued. And that's because we're not longer going to be on this flesh, which is our jail cells here on earth as a spiritual beings. I know I'm pretty weird like that, but that's how I see things. And so if you look at the photo right above me there, right, the screen that I'm showing you, it is a new dawn. It's a new day. Yeah, Hoopty Wes, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I know it's too soon, but just people that don't believe, they're always blaming God, for their lack of belief. If God really existed, He wouldn't let these children suffer. If God really existed, this nature wouldn't be killing people. If God, you know what? To each his own. People don't have to believe. I'm a believer. That's just me. We're not going to convince anybody. I seen these guys that are out there, just debate me. God is not real. No, that's if you want to argue, go ahead and argue. But if it was a matter of convincing people, then what's the point of the freedom to choose, right? That's it's free will is very important. That's why I just want to share the message, and then you get to, think about it. And if you feel any type of spiritual connection with God, the Creator, then you choose to believe what you want to believe. Okay? Just like, some people come into my channel and they're like, oh, what kind of Christian is this? Yeah, well, this guy's be cursing up a storm. He's not a Christian. He doesn't want illegal immigrants in this country. That's not Christian. Oh man, it's all good. Life is beautiful. All right, let's see who else we got in here. Right on 7, Dennis the GOAT. I think you guys are all the GOAT. You guys are fantastic. I really mean it. There's days that I wake up. I don't know about you guys, but some people, sometimes people wake up pissed off. Sometimes people wake up just very jealous because they had a bad dream. I know it happens to me sometimes, and I can tell you, sometimes I wake up and I am so thankful for these days, just loving everybody. Just wake up in the morning and just all of a sudden it's like, God, I love it. I love everybody. It's like sometimes I get some sleep. Some people don't know that I have a sleeping problem, but sometimes it feels like I get some sleep. I feel so renewed. I mean, the Bible says that we are to pray, and so that we can live through the renewing of the mind and the spirit. But I wake up in the morning, I really do, and I wake up and I just like, man, I want to change the world, and I want world peace. I want to do everything that everybody will be happy. And, it's very naive to think that way, but I think it's very special that even though we wake up sad, angry, or whatever mood, when you wake up with that feeling of just loving the world, everybody, it's very special. And yes, throughout the day, people tear it down, and then you have to start over. And who knows when that's going to come? It is what it is. All right, let me see. What else we got in here? Let's see. Eric, how are you, Eric? Eric says, God will guide the troops. Amen. I agree with that. Thank you for putting that on there. And Eric says, except the illegals. Don't bring immigration. I'm trying to give immigration a break. Just one day. One day. Just one day. Let's give immigration a break. If you guys make me talk about immigration today, I wash my hands like Pontius Pilate, and I take no responsibility for my comments on immigration. Let's say, don't ruin the day. Today is the day that I love everybody. Don't ruin the day. You know what's crazy is I know Hamani is dead. He's an evil person. But I'm not happy that he's dead, because I know he went to hell. I wish that he would have just been a wise elder man who loved his people. You know what I mean? Like who would have guided his people. And I'm gonna tell you, I think I might share a video. Let's see. I don't know how much time I'm gonna have today. I mean, I can go all night. You know what I love about my channel? That I can go live anytime. I can go live at 5 in the morning, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And if people want to join me, they can join. It's not a set schedule, and I love that. I love that flexibility. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for the super chat, Jason. How are you, brother? Good to see you on here. But because I can take care of my house, I can take care of the things that I need to take care of. Sometimes I'm doing. If you guys notice, there is a little animation on my like the video, subscribe, and share. Did you notice? Did anybody notice the hard work that I put into my advertising with a little bit of fireworks celebration? How many people noticed? Okay, how many people cared? That would be a better question. Nobody cares. But I'll let you know, man. I'm a one-man crew. One day when I start getting sponsors, if I get sponsors, and we start making some money, I would love to have people work for me. And you know what I will also love to do is have them give testimony of what kind of a boss I am. I'll tell you this. When I become governor, if there's one thing that you will not hear from any of the people that work, from any of the staff, any of the co-workers, nobody, not one of them is going to tell you that I don't care about them. I guarantee you that. And if they do, they're lying. All right, let's see. Who else do we got in here? Elsie, how are you? We really don't know that he's dead. That is true. I mean, you and I probably don't. But, sometimes we got to take their word for it. I will tell you why, Elsie, I agree with you. Just not too long ago, and it could be just me. It could be just me. But I could have swore that we just grabbed Saddam Hussein from Venezuela. I don't know. It could be just me. It could be just me. Oh, man. I wonder how many got that. All right, let's see what else we got. Docito, much love to you, my friend. You already know that. Much love to your cousin, since he was with you on the background when you called me that one night. Love your family. I wish the best for your family. Listen, if they're Muslims, if they're Christians, I don't care. My love goes to them. My prayers goes to your family. I don't believe Islam is a true religion. I don't believe they worship the true God. Especially when you see how violent people are that do that. But with that being said, I know it offends a lot of people. But with that being said, I think that it's okay. If I'm going to talk about salvation, of course it's not okay. But I think it's okay that people are trying to find a connection. And I know a lot of Muslims that have turned Christians. So, there's that. I'm not going to be able to stop people from putting up mosques. I'm not going to stop people from doing Satanist church. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to stop people from, doing whatever religion they want to do. All I ask is that we respect each other. If it offends you that I say Islam is not a true religion, it's okay. You can say Christians is not a true religion either, but we don't need to kill each other over it. You know what I'm saying? That this is how you're going to prove that your God is real. Who is going to be more tolerable than the others? Now, you can get mad at me, you can exhort me, you can rebuke me. That's okay. That is perfectly fine. But, when you start threatening people's lives and wishing death upon somebody, I don't wish death upon anybody. As a matter of fact, I'll give you a quick testimony, okay, before I continue reading who's on the chat. I'll give you a quick testimony. When I went through my first divorce, I was so depressed. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't want to live. It got so dark. It got so heavy. I felt like God abandoned me. Like I felt no connection to God. And when I lost that connection to God, it it hurt so deep. I was drowning in the dry. I was drowning. I wasn't able to breathe normal. I felt like I was dying, but I just couldn't die. And one day I was walking and I said, you know what, this hurts. This is so dark. I don't wish this pain, this anguish upon my worst enemy. I just can't do it. I just couldn't do it. Blessed be God forever, because I made a prayer and he made a deep sleep come over me, over 24 hours sleeping, which I have problems sleeping, by the way. 24 hours sleeping, and I woke up just loving the world again. I felt my connection back with God. And that's why I believe in God. I believe in my God. I believe in that great I am, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, which, if Muslims really think that Allah is Jehovah, Yahweh, that great I am, then it is the same God. But the actions of the followers tells me otherwise. With that being said, I wish peace upon everybody, and I want everybody to be blessed. I don't want to, mingle with people that want to live a sinful life and do things that I don't want to see. Some Christians don't like me because I'm okay with if people want to drink, as long as they have control of themselves. If they don't have control of themselves, I will preach against drinking. If alcohol causes you to sin, don't drink. It's that simple. If you lose your temper because you're drinking, you shouldn't be drinking at all. Right? That's kind of how I look at life. So with that being said, I don't wish evil upon anybody. I can yell at somebody and I can call people names, but you know what? I'm a big believer that the names don't hurt you. Maybe your feelings, maybe your feelings hurt you a little bit, but other than that, I mean, we're not dying, right? So yeah, that's my little quick story. Okay. Truth Teller says, mashallah. I like inshallah. Even though it's talking about Allah, but it says God's will be done, and so if Allah means God, okay, that's the way that you see it, then I'm okay with that. Yeah. Bluegrass says, yeah, dude, words are harmful, and I see that they can be, and quite honestly, my only excuse, it's that when I say those words, I normally say them out in the general. But then when people react to it, and then when people come in insulting me in the chat, my first reaction is eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. That's just me. I have great conversations over the phone with some people that disagree with me, and that's what I like. That's what I like. I like to be able to have conversations. I know there's a lot of people that like to put you down when you're trying to come up in this world. And, that those people will always be there. But we have to push through that. Rush, babe, how are you? Welcome. I see you, sis. Your souvenir, it's on the way. It's on the way to your house, mama. Let's see. RK says, stop bringing God into human wars. No, God has always been in wars. And those who put their faith in him and believe in him and serve him will find victory. As we know through the history books of the Old Testament, Moses and Joshua, all the enemies were surrendered before them because God is with them. Israel is able to do what they are able to do because God is with Israel. It's really crazy that people don't understand the fact that I always say, that Israel is God's people. And the first thing that people say, oh my God, how can you say that? But there's this bad people in there, and there is all this, and there is this pedophilia and all this stuff. Listen, God said that's his people. And all of us pagans that believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God and he came to die for our sins because of love and grace, then we are also adopted into God's people. Are we Israel? No, we're not. Okay, but we are adopted into the family. And some people will never understand the mystery. I'm not here to explain that, but nonetheless, we have good people and bad people in our country, and I support this country 100%. And I believe that this country belongs to my God, our God. In God we trust, right? So there's that. There's a little bit of logic in there. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, let's see who else we got in here. Let's see. Marvin, you don't have to believe it. I believe there's a second coming. It's in Thessalonians, 2 Thessalonians. Truth teller, why is there war on America? We are a country that believes in God, because sin, my friend, is not obsolete. Sin is everywhere. I sin every day. I have to repent. I have to pray. I have to ask for forgiveness. And it's not sinful like, murder or cheating or anything. But still, sometimes I have bad thoughts. For example, maybe I'll say something bad and it's like, you know what? I shouldn't have said that. I got to repent, right, in some of the things that I say. I have not heard from Trinity, but I do know why she's not replying. She's got her hands full. I know. I think about her every day. But I'm trying to give her, some room. I don't want her to think that I'm over here stalking her and stuff. We don't want to freak her out. I love having Trinity with us. And she loves being with us. But believe me, she has her hands full, and that's all I can say. Let's see. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the first video. I don't think I'm going to have enough time to show you everything because I did start up late. But why don't we start with Marco Rubio's first. This is about 11 minutes. So why don't we start with that?
Assistance. It is very important, and I ask this of the networks as well. It is important for you to please put both the website and the phone numbers on your screens, because we need people. We need to know where you are. We need to know. We need to have contact information for Americans that need assistance. They have to register with us, because as these options begin to open up, and as they open up, we have to be able to call you. We have to be able to reach you. We have to be able to know where you're staying, so we can get this information to you and coordinate appropriately. And it'll be a variety of methods: charter flights, military flights and transports, expanded commercial opportunities, and in some cases land routes that will allow them to go to neighboring countries who might have open airports at that point. So it's a lot of different things here that need to happen in order to move people, but it all starts by knowing that you're there. It all starts by knowing that where you are and how we can get a hold of you. So I'm asking the networks and all of the media outlets, please publicize the two phone numbers that we've put out, as well as the website, so people can contact us and register. We've had, thousands of people call already. As I said, we've identified almost 1,600 that are requesting assistance with departure, but we need you to please be able to identify that. As I came in, I also saw the media reports about Dubai's consulate. The last update I had with seconds before getting before these cameras was that a drone unfortunately struck a parking lot adjacent to the Chancellery building and set off a fire in that place. All personnel are accounted for. As you're aware, we began drawing down personnel from our diplomatic facilities in advance of this. In the cases, for example, of Beirut, we basically drew down to bare bones, as well as in Baghdad and in Erbil and in a couple other posts as well. So we've been very fortunate, obviously, but our embassies and our diplomatic facilities are under direct attack from a terroristic regime. With an update, I will obviously refer you to the Department of War. Suffice it to say that our objectives remain as they've been identified from the beginning and by the President laid out clearly yesterday. Iran can never have a nuclear weapon, and we will now not allow Iran to hide behind the immunity of a massive short-term ballistic missile inventory or the ability to make them or launch them. And so CENTCOM, in a joint operations, is carrying out a systematic destruction of their missile belt, destruction of their launchers, and destruction of their ability to make these, as well as the destruction of their Navy. From what I've been told by the Department of War, everything is on or ahead of schedule and proceeding on these objectives. We have every confidence in the world that these objectives will be achieved. The last point I would make is, and I said this yesterday and I repeat, what's about to, you're about to see, we're going to unleash Chang on these people in the next few hours and days. You're going to really begin to perceive a change in the scope and in the intensity of these attacks as, frankly, the two most powerful air forces in the world take apart this terroristic regime and defang it and take away its ability to threaten its neighbors or hide behind a zone of immunity that allows them to develop their nuclear ambitions. This terroristic, radical, cleric-led regime cannot be ever allowed to have nuclear weapons. We saw what they were willing to do to their own people. They were willing to slaughter their own people in the streets. Imagine what they would do to us. Imagine what they would do to others. Under President Trump, that will never, ever happen. All right?
Yesterday you talked about Israel. Mr. Secretary.
Please, guys, I can't hear them all. Yes.
Yesterday, you told us that Israel was going to strike Iran, and that's why we needed to get involved. Today, the president said that Iran was going to get.
Yeah, your statement is false. So that's not what I was asked very specifically. Were you there yesterday?
Yes, I asked.
Okay.
A question.
No, were you the one that? Because somebody asked me a question yesterday. Did we go in because of Israel? And I said, you were asking me that follow-up, and I said no. I told you this had to happen anyway. The president made a decision, and the decision he made was that Iran was not going to be allowed to hide behind its ballistic missile program. That Iran was not going to be allowed to hide behind its ability to conduct these attacks. That decision had been made. The president systematically made a decision to systematically destroy this terroristic capability that they had, and we carried that out. I was very clear in that answer. This was a question of timing, of why this had to happen as a joint operation, not the question of the intent. Once the president made a decision that negotiations were not going to work, that they were playing us on the negotiations, and that this was a threat that was untenable, the decision was made to strike them. That's what I said yesterday, and you guys need to play it. And if you're going to play these statements, you need to play the whole statement, not clip it to reach a narrative that you want to do, all right?
This is your statement. This is your statement, Mr. Secretary.
Go ahead.
What do you make of the war powers resolution that's being considered here in Congress?
I mean, the Congress votes on those. They can if they want. There's mechanisms for it. We've complied with the War Powers Act, even though we believe it's unconstitutional, as has every other administration. Every other president has found the War Powers Act to be unconstitutional. Nonetheless, we notified Gang of Eight, which was an appropriate mechanism by which to notify Congress. We sent the notification within 48 hours, the way the law requires. I'm here today to have, I don't know, my 6th or 7th briefing before the entirety of the House and Senate, which is far more than I ever got from any administration in the time that I was here, certainly when I was a member of the Gang of Eight. And so we've over-complied with the law and what it requires. This is an action by the president to address a real threat, This is hostilities designed to eliminate a threat to the safety and the security of the United States and to our allies.
Was there
a plan in place to evacuate Americans before the attack took place?
Well, that's the plan we're trying to carry out. The problem is, or the challenge we are facing, is airspace closures. If a country closes their airport, for example, in some cases the airports have been hit. So the airport in Kuwait was hit. So if an airport's been attacked or the airspace is closed, then we can have the planes lined up to go, but we can't get them to land because we don't have the permissions to land there. So that's the challenge. But rest assured, we are confident that we are going to be able to assist every American. As I told you right now, we have about a little over 1,500, maybe closer to 1,600 Americans requesting assistance, and we know that we're going to be able to help them. It's going to take a little time because we don't control the airspace closures. That said, there may be more people out there that need help. We need to know who you are. So please, I'm asking the media, publicize the phone numbers and the website, because we need people to call in so we have their name, we have their contact information, we have their location and their request. So as these opportunities begin to open up, we can act very quickly to reach them and get them out of harm's way.
Mr. Secretary, I want to just clarify what you said. Because you said...
There's nothing to clarify.
But you said I would get that.
No, but you have to read, if you're going to read the whole statement.
But your quote is about, we knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that would precipitate an attack.
Yeah, no, I understand. But listen, all right, let me understand. Yeah, but I had a very specific question from that gentleman, right?
The president said that...
Hold on one second. I asked
force Israelis.
Okay, but let me answer, because this is my press conference.
Sure.
Okay. You asked me, I was asked a very specific question. So you guys can misrepresent it, but I was asked a very specific question yesterday. The bottom line is this. The president determined we were not going to get hit first. It's that simple, guys. We are not going to put Americans' troops in harm's way. If you tell the president of the United States that if we don't go first, we're going to have more people killed and more people injured, the president's going to go first. That's what he did. That's what the president will always do. He will always put the safety and security of our men and women in uniform and of all Americans before anything else. He's always going to do that, and that's what he did here. In addition to that, I would argue that this threat from Iran, they are hiding behind these missiles and hiding behind these drones. They wanted to reach a point where you couldn't touch them, and then they could do whatever the hell they wanted with their nuclear program. And there is no way in the world that this terroristic regime was going to get nuclear weapons, not under Donald Trump's watch.
So the U.S. attack has nothing to do with Israel. It has nothing to do with Israel.
This operation, there's a general question of why the president gave the green light, and then there's a question of why did it have to happen this weekend? Are you saying it had to happen this weekend because of that Israeli action?
No. This weekend presented a unique opportunity to take joint action against this threat. And we wanted this to have maximum success. We want this operation to be successful at achieving its objectives. I'll repeat the objectives. The president laid them out yesterday. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. It cannot have, and therefore it cannot have the things it was hiding behind to have a nuclear weapons program. What are those things? Number one, we are going to destroy their missiles and their missile launchers. We are going to destroy their capability to make these missiles and these launchers, and we are going to destroy their Navy. Those are the objectives, and this weekend acting at this time gave us the highest probability of success in achieving those objectives, and as the Department of War will brief you, we are on or ahead of schedule to do that.
So the U.S. attack would have happened no matter what? Would the U.S. attack have happened no matter what Israel is planning to do?
The House said Israel was going to act with or without
the president
the US.
had already made a decision to act on the timing. The president acted on the timing that gave us the highest chance of success, and that's what you're seeing play out right now. You're seeing it play out right now, and you'll see it in the days to come. We will systematically take apart their missile program. We will destroy their ability to sponsor terrorism, by the way. We will destroy their factories. We will destroy their Navy. Those objectives are going to be met. We're well on our way to meeting them. It will not be easy. There will be a price to pay for it, but that is a much lower price to pay than having a nuclear-armed Iran. I got to go brief these guys. Hold on. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Secretary, how heavily is the administration leaning into the 2001 AUMF for justification of these strikes?
What now?
How heavily is the administration?
Well, that's not our notification to Congress. Our notification, listen, let me explain to you guys this in simple English, okay? Iran is run by lunatics, religious fanatic lunatics. They have an ambition to have nuclear weapons. They intend to develop those nuclear weapons behind a program of missiles and drones and terrorism that the world will not be able to touch them for fear of those things. And this is the weakest they've ever been. Now is the time to go after them. The president made the decision to go after them, take away their missiles, take away their Navy, take away their drones, take away their ability to make those things so that they can never have a nuclear weapon. That's why the president made this decision. It was the right decision, and the world will be a safer place when these radical clerics no longer have access to these weapons. You see how they're using them now. Imagine how they would use them a year from now if they had more of these. All right, I got time for one more. Yeah, go ahead.
What exactly was the threat?
Several Democrats criticized what you said and argued
that the question is, several Democrats criticize. They're going to always criticize. We've been doing this for years, guys. They come out. I'll tell you right now, they're going to come out after the briefing and say, we didn't hear anything. We have more questions than answers. You mark my words. But we still do these briefings. Go ahead.
Mr. Secretary, their criticism was on the timeline. They said that Israel is dictating the timeline for the United States.
No,
and as you know, several people on the right have also agreed with that. How would you respond to that?
Well, the United States made a decision. Under the President of the United States made a decision. This is intolerable. Iran cannot have these missiles, cannot have these drones, cannot threaten the world. The President said this is the weakest they've ever been. If we don't hit them now, a year from now, a year and a half from now, no one will be able to touch them, and they'll be able to do whatever they want. And he made a decision to go. And he made a decision to go in a joint operation because it gave us the highest chance of success. And he made the decision to go first because he concluded that we were not going to get hit first. We were not going to absorb a blow from them. We were going to go first. He was not going to run the risk that they could attack us before we could hit them, because in addition to costing lives, it would undermine the effectiveness of our operation. All right, guys, I got to go. Thank you.
Was the plan in place to evacuate Americans?
We already talked about that. So, hey, you guys stick to the point. Stick to the subject that we're talking about. You guys can't jump too far on a different path. Otherwise, you're not gonna understand what we're talking about. If we're talking about Iran, Iran or Iran, I don't know how you want to pronounce it. Some people say Iran, some people say Iran. I think Iran is the way they pronounce it. Truth teller, that is 100% accurate. And Israel and Iran used to be good friends, good allies. They did. They have a good time of peace. But ever since this stupid ideology came into place, it has changed everything. And I like what Netanyahu said earlier. I think it was today or yesterday, that he's looking forward to having new leadership in Iran that actually wants to have peace with Israel. They are sick and tired of fighting as well, but they're not going to sit there and take it from everybody that doesn't like Israel. That's just not how it works. Listen, if you don't like Israel, don't go there. Don't support them. Don't buy anything from them. Isolate yourself from them. Let me tell you something. You and I, we're humans, right? If you are violent against me, I don't want to hang out with you. If you lie to me all the time, I don't want to hang out with you. I'm always going to love you, but I'm not going to hang out with you. Does that make sense? Why would you want to be with somebody who's hateful? Just distance yourself from them. But to wish death upon your neighbor, upon your brother, that is the devil's mentality. That is how he thinks. He comes to seek, destroy, and to kill. That is not what Israel's doing. And regardless of how many other Arab countries have attacked Israel, you know what? At least I see a sign of that everybody wants to have peace. You got to be able to see it that way. Let's go ahead and let me see. I'm going to go ahead and put on Fetterman, and we're trying to rush through this because I don't have much time tonight. But I will address something. Let me tell you something. If you think that you are a perfect Christian, you might not make it to heaven, because it's not by your perfect actions or by your pretense that you don't get upset, that you pretend that you respect everything that is holy and then allow people to live lies and to live lawlessly. You can't pretend all you want. That doesn't mean you're going to heaven. Everybody's going to go to heaven, but that doesn't mean that you get to stay there. Everybody will be judged. Now, you can judge me for my words. You know what? Let Jesus judge me for my words. But he knows my heart. He knows that I'm honest. He knows my weaknesses. He knows my failures. He knows my success. He knows my potential. He knows that I depend on him. I can't be myself. I have to depend on him. I get it, Grayman. We're all sinners. But what I'm saying is, if I am defending the law, it doesn't make me a bad Christian. On the contrary, it shows you that I love my neighbors, that I love my people. That's what it should show you, because I'm standing to teach them to be lawful so that they don't have any problems in their life. You know what I'm saying? So when we talk about illegal immigration, because this is the subject that we talk a lot in here, it doesn't mean that I'm betraying my people. No, I'm teaching them that they have to do it the right way. My mother taught me when my father was alive. My father died when I was 4 years old. But when my father was alive, we had everything. We didn't have a little bowl of apples or bananas. No, we had sacks of beans, rice, apples, oranges, pears. We had the whole, whatever el gallo, I don't know what you call that in English, the whole thing of bananas. We have a lot of watermelons. We have plenty of food and more that we were able to give to the neighbors some food. That's how wealthy we were. My dad had a lot of money in the bank, which was robbed, but anyway, but still. My mother taught me, mijo, even if you're hungry, you do not beg for food. Walk away. Don't tell them, don't ask them for food. If they offer you food, by all means take, but you don't beg for food. So I go in the same direction. You know, if I'm hungry, shouldn't I be able to eat? Of course. But the principle stands. I'm not going to go and beg what somebody else has. That teaches me not to be envious, not to be jealous. I'm telling you, I've been in millionaire's house, and I'm like, whoa, man, that's nice. That's a nice home theater. Oh man, I love the recliners. That's a nice seat. Oh man, I give them props. I tell them is wow, they have great things. But you know what I want? I just want a piece of property where I can grow a mango tree, where I can have some fruits, where I can plant a garden, where I can put some flowers that decorates my home, that my wife might want to grab some to put on the dining table. That's rich to me. That's what I want. I don't want to go and be a millionaire and be miserable, even though I have all of these materialistic things. I have nothing if I don't have love. How can I say love and then I let my brethren fall into temptation, continue to sin recklessly, continue to break the law? If we break the law of the land, we're breaking the law of the Bible. The Bible is the Word of God, and the law of God is in the Bible. You shall not lie. We shouldn't lie. If you come into this country illegally, you're lying. You're breaking the law. You become a criminal. So let's not dwell too much on that. But for anybody that wants to come and preach to me, believe me, we can have a picnic talking about morals from God and trying to dissect what makes this right and what makes this wrong. We can do that another time. But today I want you to stick with the subject. We want to make sure that we have some clarification so that the devil doesn't lie to us about what's going on in Iran. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and listen to Fetterman. This is a Democrat, so a lot of people on the left side should like this. Okay?
Did the administration detail what the end game is here, about when this war may actually end and how they plan to achieve the objective?
I'm saying it's like, I think we can all agree. I mean, find a senator in here that says we should never allow Iran to acquire a nuclear bomb. Have you know anyone that says they're okay with them having a nuclear weapon? I haven't met any of them. So for me, this entire thing was that end game is make sure that's destroyed, I'm sure. That's part of it, make sure there's no way they could ever acquire a nuclear bomb. And it seems that. And then also the other missile technologies for that. So everything that I've heard there, to me, it just essentially, there's no new shocking kinds of news or any of
But wasn't the nuclear program set back in June when when the attacks initially happened? Why did this additional attack need to happen?
Well, that's part of the brief.
What did they tell you?
Senator, are you comfortable with the fact that Congress was left out of the decision-making process?
Well, what does the War Powers Resolution in 73 say? It says that the president has to provide 48 hours of notification, and he's done that. And then they have up to 60 days, perhaps a 30 days extension. And there's no boots on the ground, and it's been into 100 hours so far. So where has anything been broken or they haven't made every standard?
How do you describe the fact that how do you describe the fact that you're the only Senate Democrat, though, with that position?
Because maybe I'm the Democrat. I'm aware that it's pretty toxic for a Democrat to say I happen to agree with the president on really anything at this point. But again, find someone that opposes this, saying they've all said we can never allow Iran to acquire a nuclear bomb. Then what's and that seems like that's happening. Why can't you just acknowledge that's a good thing? Why not? No. Why can't? Why can't you just say that? It's like, this is 47 years. It's like sanctions and treaties and all kinds of other negotiations and everything. Nothing's worked, and that's the case. So why can't we all just say the world is safer and it's more just now because of that? What this happens, you don't have to agree on everything, but it's like, yes, I'm the only Democrat because I'm not afraid of my base to just say, you know what, this was overall a good thing. You don't have to agree on everything. So I'm going to be honest. So, like, why can't you just acknowledge that one of the most evil people on the face of the earth was erased? That's a good thing.
Can't you do both? Can't you do both? And I think there are questions about the scope of the operation moving forward, how long it will last. 6 service members have already been
Well, I mean, no one knows exactly how long it's going to last overall. I mean, that's, who knows? But really, that's also what's really also undeniable is that Iran has seriously been degraded. You know, if they have a big shot to shoot, they would have done it by now, and they haven't. And now, really, all of this other kinds of small things, they're just cheap drones being fired off at random nations there. If anything, they continue to isolate themselves. If anything, you could see like a good opportunity to now move them more towards Abraham Accords. There are, these small things, but where is all of things beyond those small kinds of things? Overall, Iran has been effectively degraded in a way where they really have limited, if any, capabilities at this point.
So why shouldn't Congress assert its constitutional role and actually vote to declare war the way it did with Iraq and Afghanistan?
The last war we've actually declared was World War II.
No, Iraq and Afghanistan. They were AUMF.
Afghanistan. Okay, so for me right now, what is it now? The War Powers Resolution, 60 days, and we're 100 hours into this. Now, what's at this point? Yeah, and also, I want to say on this, it's like, we can't keep our government open. We've shut it down for 45 days, and now the entire DH thing is shut down. We can't even maintain our core responsibilities to keep our government open. So right now.
Sarah, would you change your position on war powers in terms of a ground invasion into Iran?
What? No, I'm saying it's like this is.
The U.S. have done more to protect Americans who are now stranded abroad. Israel received a warning on Friday before this attack for an authorized departure there, but there are many Americans in other countries now without.
Anything else?
Senator, do Americans have anything to be concerned about with regard to retaliation here domestically? Any cells that we need to worry about? Anything?
I don't have any specific kinds of intelligence on that, of course, but our DHS system is shut down, so that's probably not great timing for that. And again, I'm the only Democrat that votes that's wrong to do that. Yeah, we all want to make some changes on ICE, but we all know that won't have any impact what they've done, and now it's shut down.
Do you support regime change inside Iran?
What?
Do you support regime change inside Iran by President Trump?
Well, I thought that's part of, a regime change. It's like the top 55 of them were killed, and I think they just blew up 80 of the randoms mullahs, too. Which, that was pretty great, actually. So, all right.
Senator, administration of
He doesn't take crap from anybody. But what he says, whether you like Democrats or not, it's irrelevant. That's what I want. I want people to tell the truth. He's speaking exactly what's going on. Now we're going to listen to one of my favorite representatives, and that's Senator Mullen. I think that this is, when I think of American, this is the attitude that I see. Now, don't think white. People like to go into the color thing. There's a lot of black Texans with the cowboy hat. There's a lot of blacks that are just as good as the white cowboys. I will say, depending on the person, some people have more skills, more talents than others. That's just the way we are. I am a lot stronger than a lot of people in Honduras that are the same mix as I am, but I'm also not the strongest. Somebody will always be stronger than me. Some people will be smarter. Maybe sometimes I will be smarter. Maybe sometimes we need each other so that we can feed off each other's ideas, so that we can go ahead and make something great together. And that's what makes America great to me. And I want to go back to making America great again. And you tell me when America was great, and I will say two things. When the border was secured and when America started to stop talking about racism. And then Obama came into office and racism just been rampant since then. And we are starting to bring it back down little by little, but it's still there. That's when America was great, when we started looking at each other without a skin color, but we started to look at each other as American people. I think that is what we're supposed to be doing in our country. Bernil, the bills are on the way. I already packaged it. I put it on the express box, so you should be getting that there maybe with Wednesday or Thursday. I hope you like it, brother. Make sure you hang it over there in the shop, all right? I didn't sign it. I didn't know if you wanted me to sign it, but at least you know that is from the Honduran here in Washington State. My love to you, bro, and your family. God bless you, and God bless your family. All right, here we go. Senator Mullin is next. Now, this one I haven't heard.
Just be said. He covered that.
Can I ask?
Yes.
Who are the three candidates who the president had in mind as possible leaders of Iran? Did they know that they were candidates for this? Had he communicated with them? And how did they wind up getting killed in the offensive?
I'm not going to.
Who were the?
I don't know if there's anything left to be said.
There is.
He covered that.
Can I ask?
Yes.
Who are the three candidates who the president had in mind as possible leaders of Iran? Did they know that they were candidates for this? Had he communicated with them? And how did they wind up getting killed in the offensive?
I'm not going to get to specifics of that because some of that was classified, but I know there was some communications with hopeful possible individuals that we could have a relationship with, and I wouldn't say that, not all of them are still kicking. I would say that maybe there might be some, but some of that's classified.
How did that happen?
Sometimes you're at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Are there measures being taken not to eliminate other possible alternatives to leadership?
This is war, and we're taking out the threat. And if you're part of the threat, then you're a target.
How did the administration describe the end game here?
Well, I think they laid out a very precise of what the threat looks like, and we're going to continue to be in the fight until they can no longer threaten the United States like they have for 47 years. Keep in mind, 7 presidents has passed on this opportunity. This threat's been around since November of 1979 when Jimmy Carter was in office. They attacked us as late as through their proxies or directly as late as June of 2025. They've killed thousands or injured thousands of Americans for 47 years. As long as the threat is still there, we're going to continue to be going after them.
Given that this could be a sustained campaign and that American service members are being killed, why didn't Congress vote to declare war? Your constitutional authority to declare war. Why didn't you do that?
Let me ask you, why didn't the Democrats that's asking this same question demand that Barack Obama do that in 2016 when he bombed 6 countries and dropped 26,000 bombs from Syria to Pakistan? I'm talking about the same situation. The president under Article 2 has broad authorities to keep Americans' interests safe home and abroad. There's no question, not one of you guys can question the fact that they haven't killed through proxies or injured through proxies thousands of Americans for 47 years. This was a threat that no other president was willing to stand up against and eliminate like President Trump. So thank God he's finally got that back.
Senator, the White House said,
let's go here.
Thank you. Senator Murray, after leaving upstairs with Democrats, said, I've heard 5 different rationales and objectives about this war.
Who said this?
Senator Murray.
Chris Murphy? Or Murray?
No, Murray. Patty Murray.
Patty Murray, yeah.
What is your understanding of the objective here?
I don't remember her asking a question while I was there, so I think the objective was pretty laid out. They want to make sure that the ability for them to strike us anywhere at any time is gone. No way they'll be able to make a nuclear weapon or enrich uranium again to take out their navy so they can't disrupt commerce in the shipping lanes and to take out their ability to restock and rebuild their missiles and drones. That's the objective here. We're going to eliminate the threat that's been threatening us for 47 years. And today's a weaker Iran than it has been in probably a decade. If we would have waited another year, this picture could look totally different, completely different. And so the opportunity and the timing was right, and we have a president in the office that had the backbone to do it.
Senator, do you have any concerns about this Iran operation? Any at all?
No. Listen, what my concern is that we have lost thousands of individuals over 47 years, and we haven't done anything about it. This threat was not going away. I don't think anybody can argue that this regime needed to be removed. And what we have done now for the Iranian people is give them a choice. We gave them a choice to say, we want our country back. We want to go back to the country that we had prior to the Ayatollah in 1979. We want to go back to the country where we had women in the workplace, in the professional workplace. We want to go back to the era when we could have women elected to public office, go back to where the great riches that live in Iranian soil would be able to be shared with the mass people there, not just used to sponsor terror around the world. And so we're giving the Iranian people an opportunity to get their country back. At the same time, we're eliminating the threat that's been threatening the United States.
Senator,
I'll go over here.
You mentioned the objectives. Did they give you a sense of how long it would take to meet those objectives?
No. Well, yes, but I'm not going to talk about a timeline.
Yes. Senator, if Iran
won't be a drawn-out conflict, that American boots won't be needed on the ground, or do you believe they could be needed?
We're not eliminating the options. We're going to continue to do whatever we can to eliminate this threat to the United States.
Senator, if Iran posts,
I know. I got you a bunch of times. Let me get to people who haven't asked a question. Yeah, I'll go here and then I'll go there.
Is there any point at which you feel like Congress should take a vote on this? Like, if you do support the operation, and you know, why not vote to authorize force like we did in Iraq and Afghanistan?
I think that can be debatable, but we're not going to take away the authority of the President of the United States to be able to be the Commander-in-Chief and keep Americans' interest safe. That's the role of the Commander-in-Chief. We don't need 535 Commander-in-Chiefs. The Commander-in-Chief is the President of the United States, and he has a duty in Article 2 to be able to protect American interest, and he is initiating that, and he is doing that with great authority and great effect. Yes.
Senator, there have been significant concerns about munition stockpiles. Senator Graham just talked about larger strikes over the next 2 days. Are there enough munitions for the next 2 days?
I will tell you that on the briefing of that, we are in good shape. That's what they said. We're in good shape. I don't know where that came from, because you've never heard this administration. You haven't heard the Joint Chiefs. You haven't heard anybody bring up that concern. So that's some concern that's been planted by some, either unrational individual or left media that's throwing that out. We are in great shape. The president has everything at his disposal to be able to do what we need to do, and we'll continue to do so. Yes.
Senator, you talked about giving the Iranian people a choice, but are you confident that enough of the regime and its infrastructure has been taken out in order to get the power back to the court?
I said this from the very push-go. My very first interview I did once this conflict started is that we're not fighting the war for the Iranian people. We're giving them an opportunity to fight their war. If they want to take back the country, they can do that. What we're doing is eliminating and weakening this administration or this regime, and then it's up to the rest of it. That's up to the Iranian people. This wasn't about regime change. If this was about regime change, we would have taken them out during the 12-day war. The president made it very clear, we know where you're at, and we could take you out if we chose to. We gave diplomacy an option, and diplomacy didn't work. Yes.
Iranian people are watching you. What is your message to them?
This is your time. This is your time. This is your country. You have a great country. We're not at war with you. We actually love you. You have an opportunity to get back to the country you used to have, and we want that relationship with you. We actually desire that relationship, to have that relationship we had prior to 1979, but it's up to you. This is your time. It's on your shoulders to win back your country.
Senator, what is the plan for the nuclear sites? We've seen mostly conventional military sites.
Well, I mean, we obliterated that during the 12-day war, but we know they were trying to rebuild it. We will not leave until we neutralize any threat that could possibly come back from the Iranian regime. God forbid they're still in office. All right?
How challenging will it be to get at those ballistic?
Yes.
Did the administration underestimate the Iranian response, given that there was a scramble?
No, we didn't underestimate anything.
Do you think that the administration should have done more before this to evacuate Americans or give Americans?
We did everything we needed to do. We were very strategic on understanding what their possibilities are and what their capabilities were, and we have completely overwhelmed it. We have complete air supremacy. We've taken over their ability to fight back. We knew that they had what they called an Nazar plan in place, where they had predetermined targets, which we call the death switch, where they're continuing to shoot at targets that they have as long as the munitions are there. We've also seen that their capability to launch has greatly diminished, because we've been going after what we'd call not all the arrows, but going after the archers.
You'll concede this is war. You'll concede this is war.
We haven't declared war. They declared war on us, but we haven't.
War, and Secretary Hicks said
but we haven't declared.
Just now you said this is war.
They've called it war.
They've called it war. What I was saying. Okay, well that was a misspoke. What I was saying that they've declared war on us, but war is ugly. It always has been ugly. But we're taking out a regime that's been trying to attack us for quite some time.
But you're not conceding this is war.
We have declared war. So if we haven't declared war, then I don't see that. The president hasn't asked us to declare war yet, but they have declared war on us. We're just simply fighting the threat that's been at our door for 47 years. I've already answered your question.
Do you believe that ask could be coming? That an ask from the president to declare war?
I don't know if that's necessary because, as I said, we're not at war with the Iranian people. I made that very clear just a while ago when I was asked to talk directly to the Iranian people. I said, we're not at war with you. We are done fighting against this murderous regime that's been nipping at our heels for 47 years and killing thousands of people. It's time to eliminate them. All right?
Was there any talk about how to keep oil prices down?
No, we didn't talk about any of the economic things. It was strictly on the conflict taking place.
Senator, what's your understanding of what the imminent threat was that caused Trump to decide that he needed to launch this attack preemptively?
We've known the threat is going to be there. They've threatened us. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So you can choose a numerous amount of options. I think you heard Witkoff came out. I think there was some report that said that that during the negotiations, and I saw this on public, so this wasn't discussed in there, that they had enough nuclear weapons enough nuclear enrichment to be able to load 11 weapons. They were claiming that during the negotiations. I didn't ask that question in there, but we know that they were trying to reach us, and we know they continued to hit us. And so it wasn't a matter of if again; it was just a matter of when they did it.
It wasn't like a specific thing.
I think hearing Senator Mullen, Marco Rubio, Fetterman, we're on the same page. We are on the same page. I don't think people realize what war actually really is. Full-out war is not the same as precision strikes. If we were at an all-out war, nobody's safe. We will be invading that country, and we will be destroying completely everything that they have. Who was at war? Israel and Hamas. They were at war, but we're not. I hope you understand that. And you know what? Either way you look at it, for me personally, when somebody's attacking like that, that's war to me. But, technically it's not. All right. But that's what I feel. Precision strikes are not declared war. On the country, they are precision strikes to disabilitate our enemy, the ones that are trying to destroy us. We are not there to destroy Iran, everybody. That's not what we're there for, okay? But I wanna play something here from Sahar TV. He shows a couple of things in here that should be mentioned. I want you to pay attention to this. Probably don't see it that good on there. Let me see if I can make it bigger. Let me see here. Hold on. Let's get rid of that. All right. So he's playing this video. Watch this right here. Watch this.
I want to keep you waiting. So first of all, there's this video going around saying brutal images from Israel show Iranian ballistic missiles destroying everything in their path. Iran showed Tel Aviv this morning with its ballistic projectiles that Israel's air defense system cannot stop. Take a look at this.
Tel Aviv, I can't believe this.
This video got 8.3 million views, a bunch of reshares. It was posted, 3 hours ago? And it's all over X. It's fake. It's AI.
It's fake, it's AI, and it's no longer on his post. I know because I checked. So the reason why it looks small is because he is the one making it on his page. But I want to, let's get to, he shared, you know what, as a matter of fact, why don't I do my clips that I want to watch. Here's an update. You probably heard this already. This is from 12 hours ago. Some of you already know this. And the reason why I'm playing this is because we need to get an understanding to at least know what, have some idea of what's happening with this. Because I'm tired of the legacy leftist media changing the narrative to fit their rhetoric. And I don't like that. I don't like being manipulated. I don't like being used. You know what I'm saying? This is my own opinion. This is not your fact. This is how I come to my conclusions. I watch these things. I share them with you. So maybe it helps you in some way. I understand people that have their mind made up and they hate Trump and nothing is going to change. There's nothing I can do about you or for you. But if you are willing to have a conversation, even though we're not talking to each other right now, you're chatting, I'm talking, we're watching the same things. I put a Democrat talking about it that thinks with common sense, not just somebody who hates President Trump, but somebody who has decided to put his country first before the party. That's all I'm asking. I'm asking that you put your party aside. Put in your hate for a guy that you don't even know that he is guilty of whatever he's being accused. Which, by the way, I will share with you this, who I believe it could be a sleeper cell. Let's remember Swalwell. Swalwell was sleeping with a Chinese spy. All the Democrats forgot about that. We don't forget about that. All right, let's take a listen and see the update here from Fox News.
Overseas, because fighting in the Middle East rages on as we enter day 4 into day 5 of Operation Epic Fury. Iran and its terror proxies ramping up their attacks, putting much of the region in their crosshairs. Moments ago, an urgent warning from the U.S. Department of State of a, quote, imminent threat of missile attacks over Dhahran, Saudi Arabia, which is the eastern part of that country. So, good morning. There's a lot to get to from New York City. I'm Bill Hemmer, and welcome to our coverage now. And Dana,
yes, good morning. It's good to be with you again. I'm Dana Perino, and this is America's Newsroom. So that target list includes the U.S. Embassy in Saudi Arabia. 2 drones hitting the facility there, sparking a small fire. Thankfully, no one was hurt. Meanwhile, the U.S. military continues unleashing its massive firepower, targeting assets of the terror regime of all stripes. CENTCOM announcing the continued destruction of Iranian command facilities and missile and drone launch sites.
All right, from overseas to Washington, D.C. now, President Trump will meet today, this morning, in fact, with Germany's chancellor at the White House. The strikes in Iran front and center. Vice President J.D. Vance saying that no one should doubt the resolve of the commander-in-chief.
I think the president has made it very clear that the United States has a lot of optionality here. And, we could go for a little bit longer, we could go for a lot longer, but I think the president just wants to make it clear to the Iranians and to the world that he is not going to rest until he accomplishes that all-important objective of ensuring that Iran can't have a nuclear weapon, not just for the next few years, not just because we obliterated Fordow or some other enrichment facility, but because the Iranians themselves commit long-term to not building a nuclear weapon.
And Jennifer Griffin is live in Washington with the latest. Good morning, Jennifer.
Good morning, Dana. Well, there are increasing indications that some of the Gulf states' air forces may enter in carrying out airstrikes against Iran. They have been taking so much incoming in terms of ballistic missiles and drones that I'm told that, quote, the next 24 hours is going to be intense. A line has been crossed. As you mentioned, no U.S. personnel were killed or injured when the U.S. Embassy in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, was struck by at least 2 Iranian Shahed drones last night. It was largely empty at the time, but other military bases in Saudi Arabia are being targeted. In fact, I've just learned that Daman, a port city and 5th largest city in Saudi Arabia, is currently under attack. The State Department just issued this urgent warning to Americans in Dhahran, Saudi Arabia, an eastern coastal city near Bahrain. Quote, There is a threat of imminent missile and UAV attacks over Dhahran. Do not come to the U.S. consulate. Take cover immediately in your residence on the lowest available floor and away from windows. Do not go outside. The U.S. consulate in Dhahran urges U.S. citizens in Dhahran to shelter in place, review security plans in the event of an attack, and to stay alert in case of additional future attacks. U.S. consulate personnel are sheltering in place. The State Department is telling all Americans to leave the Middle East, finally announcing ordered departures at embassies across the Gulf states. Some questioning what took the State Department so long to issue this ordered departure. And now there are not many flights out of places like Dubai. U.S. bases and embassies across the Middle East are facing the constant threat of incoming missiles and drones, but the vast Iranian ballistic missile supply is likely to dwindle. Once the U.S. takes out more of its missile launchers, which they were doing overnight, their missile launchers are estimated in the hundreds. Without missile launchers, the 2,000 or so ballistic missiles can't be launched. The burn rate for the Iranians in firing those missiles, the ballistic missiles, is high, with about 500 being fired in the first few days at Israel and at the Gulf states. The Iranians have decentralized their decision-making. Small IRGC missile units were prepared for disruptions to their command and control. In fact, the U.S. took out the IRGC headquarters in Tehran with Tomahawk missiles in the initial hours of the conflict. The Iranian president has now decentralized decision-making to regional governors. That we learned this morning. Gulf allies, again, are quickly burning through their missile defense interceptors and are requesting urgent resupply for their Patriot and THAAD missile interceptors needed to shoot down these incoming Iranian drones and missiles. Actually, the THAAD and Patriots aren't used for the drones, but just for the missiles. The problem with the Shahid drones is they are not easily defended by these missile batteries, anti-missile batteries. In fact, you would not waste these expensive interceptors for the THAAD and Patriot on these drones, which are slow and low-flying and deadly autonomous munitions about the size of an SUV car. The Ukrainians perhaps have the most experience with shooting down these drones because Iran provided its Shahid drones and technology to Russia at the start of the Ukraine conflict. The Ukrainians have had to innovate and figure out how to defend against these deadly drones, often using fighter jets and helicopters to take them down. The death toll, back to earlier this week, the death toll now from the Iranian attack on U.S. forces that left 6 dead has not risen. We're told 18 U.S. troops remain seriously injured from that strike on their tactical operations center on Sunday. Dana.
All right, Jennifer Griffin, thank you for that update.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
It's good to see that there is progress. Here's a post from our POTUS. Since the launch of the Operation Epic Fury, more than 9,000 Americans have safely returned home from the Middle East. If you are a U.S. citizen in the Middle East and you want to come home, please register with the State Department at step.state.gov. The department will identify where you are and provide travel options to you. We are already chartering flights free of charge and booking commercial options, which we expect will become increasingly available as time goes on. U.S. citizens may also call the number 24/7 State Department Task Force at 1-202-501-4444. Again, that's 202-501-4444. And you can go to the step.state.gov. I think it's very cool that we have a president and an administration that actually cares about our American citizens being safe. Not like Obama, who gave, $2.3 billion, access to $2.3 billion to Iran, who in exchange decided to build nuclear capability weapons. It tells you that Trump is doing the right thing. I already read a post that I gave you from Cutting Edge. Cutting Edge shared an post from another person talking about Barack Obama just picked himself 9 criminal lawyers, criminal defensive lawyers. He is lawyering up because he knows he has to answer for what he has done. Now, I will share this information, but I'm going to tell you something. I don't know what's going on with this, okay? I don't know what's going on with this. But here's the next tweet. Yep, I remember the pallets. There's actually a video about it. Let me see. Let me see if I have. I think Dave Rubin, I think, shared it. Let me see if I have it on my history here. I think Dave Rubin shared it earlier. I saw it on my feed through my phone, but you know, I get a bunch of crap coming through. And let's see. Oh, I like this guy. I got to play this guy for you too.
She has got a message for us Americans when it comes to this whole question of assimilation.
What are you going to do if we say no? We don't want to assimilate. We don't want to be like you. You people are so sick, honestly. Assimilate or you're not American. Who are you?
Oh, who are we? Oh, we're the people that don't want the place you fled to look like the place you fled from.
There's migrants that don't want to assimilate. I think it's this one here. Let me see. Let me see if it's this one right here.
Quote, these people are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy. I mean, but that's not something we ever heard from Obama or Biden from that stage.
No, I mean, listen, we've never had a speaker rip up a speech either. But when you're saying issues like, we're talking about trucking, we have, and this comes in my space, where you have states that are issuing driver's licenses to illegals who haven't been trained to drive a 80,000-pound truck on an American road. We have a little girl that had her life impacted for the rest of her life, and she's 5 years old, and it was an illegal who hit her. I think the question becomes, why doesn't every Democrat stand up and go, no, we want well-qualified drivers on American roads. That's not partisan. We don't want illegals who
Nick is awesome.
Can't speak the language, contrary to American law for decades.
Those are super easy issues, and if you're not on board, if you're not on the right side of those issues, you are crazy. I should mention Sean Duffy, by the way, he's transportation secretary. But Tapper, you know, oh my God, he said these people are crazy. It's like, yeah, remember when Nancy Pelosi ripped up the speech? Like, show me the versions where Republicans are doing this sort of thing. Do you like America? We don't.
Quote, these people are crazy.
Facts. We're not making it up. They do it on television. It's like they do it on purpose. They know everybody's watching. So we see them denying us, leaving us, abandoning us, and you still want to defend them? I don't know why people want to defend the Democrats. We need to stop defending Democrats because they have proven over and over that they just don't care about American citizens. So my question to you is, why the hell do we have them in office? Why are they still in office is what I want to know. Why? And why are they getting paid? No member of Congress should get paid when they shut down the government. Who shut down the government? Republicans again? Yeah, Republicans shut down the government again. They were voted in. We need to fire them. They need to be fired. Who can fire them? That's what I want to know. I can tell you, we could have put a more American pro-Congress if we take out AOC, if we take out Tlaib Rashid, if we take out Ilhan Omar, the pirate, if we take out Nancy Pelosi, if we take out Chuck Schumer, if we take out the fake hero astronaut, which probably is the twin evil brother, not the real guy, and then we can take the spy who shagged me out as well. Salwell can get out of there. I mean, we can get rid of so many people, even the activist dude that got kicked out of the speech. out of the State of the Union. If we get rid of those people, you know, I would hope that we would actually vote people in that will do a good job, that we vote for them, not because they're Republican Democrats, but because they are pro-American first. If they stand for American citizens, vote them in. If they stand for illegal immigrants, don't vote them in. Follow the policy. Listen, I'm going to put my policies in place. They're going to be very similar to President Trump's, but I'm going to put my policies in place. Don't vote for me because I chose to take sponsorship from Republicans. Don't vote for me because I chose sponsorship from Democrats. Don't vote for me because I'm independent. Vote for me because you like my policies. Now, once I get my name officially on the ballot, we're going to go ahead. I'm going to go hardcore on it. I can't wait. I feel like I almost want to just stop doing my show that I started at the end of August. I want to just concentrate on what I'm going to campaign on because I get like itchy. I'm the guy that just says, put me in, put me in, coach, put me in, coach. I get so overexcited, and it drives me crazy to wait for something to happen. Let me tell you what my work ethics are like. It's so hard for me to get started in some things that are not important to me. Something that I can do a different time. But I'm going to tell you something. When I get my mind set up on something, I do not stop until I complete it and take care of it. I have gone a very long time awake doing a project. I just can't give up. So who knows how good that's going to be for my health. But there it is. I can't wait. I cannot wait. Now, I want you to listen to this moron. I think, right, just by the way he acts, he's a slithering snake. By the way that he acts, I think this guy that I'm going to show you right now, he might be a sleeper cell.
Of Donald Trump threatening to. So why are Republicans so interested in Bill and Hillary Clinton? It's because they're trying to distract from the fact that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files thousands and thousands of times. In those files, there's highly disturbing allegations of Donald Trump raping children, of Donald Trump threatening to kill children. So I encourage your press to go look at these allegations, and I'm highly disturbed that Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche just got the law wrong. Yesterday, he said, essentially, that it is not a crime to party with Jeffrey Epstein. Well, that's actually not correct. If Jeffrey Epstein was human trafficking minors for these sex parties, and you show up and patronize the establishment at that party, yes, you're guilty.
So somebody making a comment, somebody's name being mentioned thousands of times in somebody else's bad doings, that is enough evidence to call somebody guilty? Is it a fake video? If this is a fake video, yeah, okay, I'll accept that. But I'm telling you, this guy right here, I do not trust him 1 cent. Not one. Not once. Not once. He tried to set up Candace Owens, remember? He played this little clip, conveniently clipped, so that it sounded like she was supporting Adolf Hitler and Nazis while she's black. The stupidest thing. This guy is Chinese. Just happened to be Chinese. I hope you're right. David, are you talking to me? Okay, I hope that this is AI. I really hope so. Because for him to say that, That is very stupid. Now let me see if anybody commented on this being AI. Gunther says this has to be stopped. This is not okay. Let's see. Ted Liu says the full Epstein files contain information that Donald Trump raped minors. This is stand up for Trump. Nobody says that it's fake. She'll be missed. Chinese propaganda. Who knows? Are you guys talking about this video that I'm showing with Ted Liu, the Chinese American? I don't know who you guys are. Who are you guys talking to? At least poll is consistent. You guys have Trump the reign and everything. How did you get here? Why are you here? Why should I care? Yeah, Ted Liu. I'm telling you, I don't trust him. I think he works for the Chinese. I really do. I really do think that he works for the Chinese. He just does not love Americans. He doesn't care about American citizens. You guys are having a different conversation there on something else, I guess. All right, so since you guys are having a different conversation, watch this video. This is supposedly children that are swearing allegiance to Khamenei. Now, I know that video is pretty old. It doesn't look like it's legit or whatever. But the fact remains that there is a lot of people that support this atrocity of a human being. Oh, man. Listen, it's going to get harder and harder to get the truth out there because AI is getting pretty good. AI is getting pretty good. And I think that that we're going to be in trouble in the near future if we don't stand up for what's right. What are you guys talking about in here? Listen, I want do me a favor when you're on the chat. If you're going to be on this chat to be, productive, I want you to stay on subject so that we don't have misunderstandings because you're distracting me. Number one, arguing with yourselves, and I don't know what you're talking about. So before I start blocking people, just stay on the subject that we're talking about. Okay. Now, if you are a mod and you're still with me on this chat, we're going to listen to our president, Donald J. Trump, since people are busy doing something else on the chat, because I do want to listen to this.
I just want to say it's a great honor to have you at the Oval Office, the beautiful Oval Office, beautiful White House. It's a special place, even from your standpoint, and you have some very special places too, and I look forward to being with you.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President, for having me here in this Oval Office for the third time now.
Yeah.
Really happy to have the opportunity to speak with you in these challenging times. We are on the same page in terms of getting this terrible regime in Tehran away, and we will talk about the day after, what will happen then if they are out. We have to talk about our trade agreement, which I would like to be in place as soon as possible. And we have to talk about Ukraine. There are too many bad guys in this world, actually, and this is an issue we have to talk about because we all want to see this war coming to an end as soon as possible. but Ukraine has to preserve its territory and their security interests, and, well, we will talk about that.
We will
Looking
indeed.
forward to that.
Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you
That's some
for your
interesting.
hospitality. Thank you for letting me spending the night in your guest house.
That's
It's
right.
a very, very
Good.
comfortable
Hope
place.
you liked it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, great place. And a famous place.
That's
yeah.
good. Very
So
famous.
many former presidents.
That's
there.
right.
Yeah.
Very famous place. Any questions, please?
Mr. President, did Israel force your hand to launch these strikes against Iran? Did Netanyahu pull the United States into this war?
No, I might have forced their hand. You see, we were having negotiations with these lunatics, and it was my opinion that they were going to attack first. They were going to attack. If we didn't do it, they were going to attack first. I felt strongly about that. And we have great negotiators, great people, people that do this very successfully and have done it all their lives very successful. And based on the way the negotiation was going, I think they were going to attack first. And I didn't want that to happen. So if anything, I might have forced Israel's hand. But Israel was ready and we were ready, and we've had a very, very powerful impact because virtually everything they have has been knocked out now. Their missile count is going way down. Amazingly, they're hitting countries that were, you know, let's call them neutral, right? They lived together for a long time. I think they were surprised. I was surprised. I think and now those countries are all fighting against them and fighting strongly against them. Someday they'll write a story and they'll say why they did that, but they hit countries that had nothing to do with what's going on. They were sort of leaving everything alone. All of a sudden they had missiles shot in, which shows you the level of evil that we're dealing with. They'll hit people that were actually at least somewhat friendly, and they had no problems with it. Also hitting only civilian places, hotels and apartment buildings, and we're hitting them where it is much more appropriate. We're hitting them very hard. And the big scale hitting goes now. They no longer have air protection. They no longer have any detection facilities at all left. And so they're gonna be in for a lot of hurt. These are bad people. These are people that killed. I guess it's 35,000. It's coming out 35,000 over the last 3 weeks. Protesters, 35,000 violently killed. So these are bad people, and the leader of the pack is gone. And as you know, 49 people were taken out in the first hit, and I guess there was another hit today on the new leadership, and it looks like that was pretty substantial also. So they're getting hit very hard, and we'll see what happens. A lot of people are coming forward. A lot of the people you would least suspect want to quit. They want to have immunity. They're asking for immunity, and probably at some point they'll be dropping, as you would say, laying down their guns. We'll see what happens. In the meantime, we're just continuing to go forward. Our military is the #1 in the world by far, and we are. Everything's big in my book. Venezuela was big. This is big. The original hit, Midnight Hammer, was big. Everything you view is big, but it's not considered very big by some standards, by some of our standards. We have a military like no other military that's ever been built.
Mr. President, what's the worst case scenario that you have planned for in Iran?
Well, I don't know if there's a worst case. We have them very much beaten militarily from the military standpoint. They're still lobbing some missiles. At some point, they won't even be able to do that because we're hitting all of their carriers. We're hitting all of their missile stock. You know, they built up all these missiles over the last few years. They had a lot of them. They've shot a lot of them, and we're knocking out a lot. I guess the worst case would be we do this, and then somebody takes over who's as bad as the previous person, right? That could happen. We don't want that to happen. That would probably be the worst. You go through this, and then in 5 years you realize you put somebody in who was no better. So we'd like to see somebody in there that's going to bring it back for the people. And we'll see what happens with the people. You know, they have their chance. And we've said don't do it yet. If you're going to go out and protest, don't do it yet. It's very dangerous out there. A lot of bombs are being dropped. but I would say that would be about the worst.
Do you have someone in mind right now? Because you said all the people you did have in mind have been taken out. What do you think?
Well, most of the people we had in mind are dead. So, you know, we had some in mind from that group that is dead. And now we have another group. They may be dead also, based on reports. So I guess you have a third wave coming in. Pretty soon we're not going to know anybody. But we have, I mean, Venezuela was so incredible because we did the attack and we kept government totally intact. And we have Delcy, who's been very good. We have the whole chain of command, and they've been, you know, look, the relationship's been great. We've taken out 100 million barrels of oil already, and a big part of that goes to them, and a big part goes to us. And it's been great. We paid for the war many times over, and we're going to be running the oil. And Venezuela is going to make more money than they ever made, and that's great for the people. The relationship has been great. It's been seamless. Nobody's actually ever seen anything like it. If you look at Iraq, where very stupidly everybody was fired, the generals were fired, the military was fired, the police were fired, the fire departments were fired, and all of the government workers were fired. So after, you know, people would call, they had no idea. And by the way, ISIS was formed. That's where ISIS came from, all of the fired people. We don't believe in that. So we'll see what happens, but first we have to finish off the military.
What do you think about Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi? Is he an option at all in your mind?
I guess he is. Some people like him, and we haven't been thinking about too much about that. It would seem to me that somebody from within maybe would be more appropriate. I've said that. He looks like a very nice person, but it would seem to me that somebody that's there, that's currently popular, if there's such a person, but we have people like that. We have people that were more moderate. You know, these were radical lunatics, and you know what they get? They get nothing. All they do is kill people.
Mr. President, what exactly was the imminent?
You've asked, not your turn. Not your turn, please.
Mr. President, you've been to take the heat off the European superintendent to help you. Mark Rutte called on the allies to also help you.
What does that mean?
Well, you have to ask Mark Rutte. He said not as part of NATO, but to be helpful to you in this.
Well, some of the European nations have been helpful and some haven't. And I'm, you know, very surprised. Germany's been great. He's been terrific. Others have been very good, terrific. I think that the head of NATO, Mark, is fantastic. Okay, Mark Rutte. I think he's fantastic. But some of the European, like Spain, has been terrible. In fact, I told Scott to cut off all dealings with Spain. Spain, first of all, it started when every European nation, at my request, paid 5%, which they should be doing. And everybody was enthusiastic about it, Germany, everybody. And Spain didn't do it. And now Spain actually said that we can't use their bases, and that's all right. We don't want to. We could use their base if we want. We could just fly in and use it. Nobody's going to tell us not to use it, but we don't have to. But they were unfriendly, and so I told him we don't want to. Spain has absolutely nothing that we need other than great people. They have great people, but they don't have great leadership. And as you know, they were the only country that in NATO would not agree to go up to 5%. I don't think they would have agreed to go up to anything. They wanted to keep it at 2%, and they don't pay the 2%. So we're going to cut off all trade with Spain. We don't want anything to do with Spain.
What is the expectation towards?
And I'm not, by the way, I'm not happy with the UK either. That island that you read about, the lease, okay, he made it, for whatever reason, he made a lease of the island. Somebody came and took it away from him. And it's taken 3-4 days for us to work out where we can land there. It would have been much more convenient landing there as opposed to flying many extra hours. So we are very surprised. This is not Winston Churchill that we're dealing with.
Mr. President, what's your expectations towards Germany? What can Germany do and what should Germany do to help you in this moment?
Well, I think they're doing it. I mean, they're letting us land in certain areas, and we appreciate it. And they're just making it comfortable. We're not asking them to put boots on the ground or anything. I mean, we're just they're a respected country. I have a very good relationship with the country. We have, in particular, now with this leader, with this new leader. I think he's an excellent leader. I had my differences with Angela. I said, "You're hurting your country with immigration, and you're hurting your country with energy." And we have a man sitting on my right that is, I think, pretty much the opposite of her on energy and the opposite on immigration. And I think he's doing very well.
Mr. President. Commercial air travel right now is severely restricted in the Middle East, and thousands of Americans are stranded. Why wasn't there an evacuation plan, and will you send planes to get people out?
Well, because it happened all very quickly. We thought, and I thought maybe more so than most, I could ask Marco, but I thought we were going to have a situation where we were going to be attacked. They were getting ready to attack Israel. They were getting ready to attack others. You're seeing that right now. And a lot of those missiles that are hitting in, those are stationary. Those were aimed there for a long period of time at these other countries. So I think I was right about that. We attacked first. And if we didn't, it could have been, you know, look, we're really decimating them. They're being decimated. And if we didn't, and by the way, we have massive amounts of ammunition. We have the high end. A lot of it was given away stupidly by Biden, very stupidly, for free. And I'm all for Ukraine, but they gave away a lot. As you know, when I give away ammunition, everybody pays for it. The European Union's paying for it. Then they can do what they want with it, but they are giving it, let's say, to Ukraine, and it's okay. But we gave away a lot of high-end, but we have plenty. But we have unlimited middle and upper ammunition, which is really what we're using in this war. And we have really an unlimited supply. We also have a lot of the very high-end stored in different countries throughout the world. We're literally storing it there, which is actually something that I insisted on in my first term. I rebuilt the military in my first term. The military is great. Unbelievable amount of ammunition, or munitions, as they say, we're giving away to, the Wall Street Journal incorrectly covered the story when they said that it was given away to the Middle East. Not to the Middle East, it was given away to Ukraine. Very little was given to the Middle East. Middle East would buy a lot, and some of the nations, because they're rich, they have a lot, but it was given away to Ukraine. And it just should have been done. Look, it's a war that should have never happened. If I were president, that war would have never happened. But we have a tremendous amount of munitions, ammunition at the upper level, middle and upper level, all of which is really powerful stuff.
Mr. President, a question to both of you. How worried are you that the rising prices of gas and oil are damaging the American economy, and also Mr. Chancellor?
Yeah, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, sure. This is, of course, damaging our economies. This is true for the oil prices, and this is true for the gas prices as well. So that's the reason why we all hope that this war will come to an end as soon as possible, and we are hoping that the Israeli and the American army are doing the right things to bring this to an end and to have really a new government in place who is coming back to peace and freedom.
Yeah. Something had to be done. And it's been 47 years. They've been killing people all over the world for a long time. They were the kings and fathers of the roadside bomb. Soleimani, we killed him last term. If we didn't, I think it might be a different story today. They would have been much stronger and smarter than they are. But they did the roadside bombs. 95% of the people lost their legs, arms, had their face wiped out, just wiped out. I've seen some young people that it's so sad to watch. And that was almost all, 95% comes from Iran and with Soleimani. Soleimani loved his favorite weapon. He loved the roadside bomb. And when you see people walking around with no legs and no arms and a face that's been blown to hell, these people, what they have to go and the way they have to live, this is Iran. when you look at the barracks, the famous barracks, when you look at the hostages, when you look at a lot of hostages, when you look at all of the problems, they were really a purveyor of terror all over the world for many, many years. And it's something that had to be done, something. And I believe that if we didn't, because I see where Congress, you know, if I didn't do this, guys like Schumer, who are losers, the Democrats, they're losers. That's why they're not here. Guys like Schumer would say, well, you should have done this. In other words, if I did it, it's no good. If I didn't do it, they would have said the opposite, that you should have done this. But most people feel, I'll tell you what, I have never had more compliments on something I did. People felt it's something that had to be done. So if we have a little high oil prices for a little while, but as soon as this ends, those prices are going to drop, I believe, lower than even before. Go ahead, please.
Mr. President.
Yes.
How do you want to solve the conflict on tariffs between the EU and the US? And
Between who?
The conflict on tariffs between the EU and the US. How do you want to solve
And U.S. and who?
EU, European Union.
How do you want to
Well, we won on tariffs, actually. Somebody said you actually won the case. We won on tariffs. We had a decision that was wrong. It was a very bad decision from certain standpoints. From other standpoints, a very powerful decision because it reaffirmed all the fact that we have all these various forms of tariffs that we felt right, but it totally reaffirmed it. It said you can use all of these tariffs. So we have all these vast menus of tariffs. And tariffs have made our country very rich. We have to charge tariffs to nations who play with their money. You know, they move their money up and down like a yo-yo. We have to take care of nations that have been good to us and fair to us, and we're going to take care of them. Other nations, they haven't, and we haven't let them take advantage of us. But the whole thing with tariffs is we had a decision that, like, as an example, we have a license situation, and the license is something that allows us to immediately stop all business with, nobody even knew we had this power, but we do now because of the decision. We have the right to stop all business having to do with a certain country. If a certain country is not treating us well, the president, without going to Congress, has the right to stop. Sort of interesting. I have the right to stop, but under that one law, I didn't have the right to charge them. So I have the right to license them, but I don't have the right to charge, which is frankly ridiculous. But the right was given to us by the Supreme Court. And we have the right, as an example, we talked about Spain. I could tomorrow stop, or today, even better, stop everything having to do with Spain. All business having to do with Spain. I have the right to stop it. Embargoes, do anything I want with it. And we may do that with Spain. What do you think?
Well, sir, I think we're going to talk about it with you. I know that you have strong power. The Supreme Court clarified. We know you can use it, and if you need to use it to assure national and economic security, we'll do it.
Scott, do you have an opinion?
Sir, I agree. The Supreme Court reaffirmed your ability to implement an embargo, and as we've talked, from your first term, the Section 301s and the 232s have withheld more than 4,000 lawsuits, and USTR and Commerce are going to begin investigations, and we'll move forward with those.
And we've instituted a 15% tariff on everybody, as you know, and just used. I'll tell you, we had a couple of paragraphs written in that opinion that were really incredible. Justice Kavanaugh wrote a fantastic dissent, but in his dissent, he said what we should do, and we knew that too. We just wanted to simplify it, and for some reason, I think, very, very foolishly, the courts decided no, but they said you can do it many other ways, and that's what we're doing. And what we've done is we've gone to a very simple, straight 15% tariff. We've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars in our country because of tariffs. So we've taken in all of this money, hundreds of billions of dollars, and honestly, it's made us very, rich as a country, right? So it's been doing good. When will you have the full plan implemented? We have a 5-month period, up to 5 months, where we can go at 15%. And while we're doing that, as you know, we're doing the various studies and things, and we'll be coming out with tariffs, different tariffs on different countries. You want to talk about that first?
Yes, sir. By the time the 5-month period has elapsed, we'll have completed investigations under Section 301, which Secretary Bessent talked about. We know there are countries out there with deals who are very interested in keeping the deals. We need to go through and investigate all these unfair trading practices, the kinds of things you talked about, and make sure that we're protecting U.S. economic security. We know there are countries.
How are we going to treat Germany?
Well,
I think you should hit them very, very hard.
You knew he was right there when he said that, Mr. President. They have expressed an interest. Germany's been quite constructive in wanting to move forward and be helpful. You know, the rest of the EU will talk to them as well. But obviously,
I will say every country, every single country wants to make the deal they already have. In other words, a deal that we have using the other authority, they want to make the same deal. And we'd like to see, actually, we're going to adjust it somewhat upward, actually, but they all want to stay in the deal, and so we'll probably be able to do that pretty easily.
Mr. President, Ukraine, after all, Iran won't be able to deliver drones to Russia anymore. So what does this more mean to Ukraine? And having Chancellor Merz sitting next to you, whom would you call if you want to talk to Europe? And Chancellor Merz, you've just been in China, the president...
Who are you, what country are you from?
I'm from Germany.
Okay, I thought so, I could see.
So, Mr. Chancellor, you have been in China, and the president...
She likes you.
In China soon.
I don't know.
Will you be talking about China as well?
We'll be talking about China, yeah. Sure.
And what about Ukraine?
I'll be going to China in a little while. Every time you meet, you talk about China. We respect China. I do. We both do, I think. But it's always a topic of conversation. We've had a very good relationship with China. We used to lose a tremendous amount of money with China, and that's no longer the case. We have a very, very good relationship with China, and we have a very good relationship with Germany. All right.
Thank you, Mr. President. We've seen countries around the world, many of whom don't usually work together, working with the United States on Iran, whether it's Saudi Arabia working with the United States, Israel, Qatari shooting down Iranian aircraft, and we've also seen European countries step up. Why are we seeing such unity around the world against Iran?
That's a great point. Look, they're just evil. They're it's not the politics; it's their whole philosophy. It's their whole where they come from. It's terrible. Where they killed 35,000, I thought it was 32. Now it turns out it's much more than 35,000 people, and in some cases using machine guns with people that have no weapon. They have no weapon, and they're being machine gunned. They're being sniped from buildings. They're hitting the people with snipers right through the eyes. It's just a very evil ideology, and nobody's really seen anything like it. As I said, even the fact that they've attacked all of their neighbors, and the neighbors weren't attacking. They thought they'd maybe sit it out or what. They've hit Qatar, they've hit UAE, they've hit Saudi Arabia, they've hit Oman. They were helping us negotiate. They got hit. Everybody got hit because they're evil and they're bad. It's a bad seed, and somebody had to do it. And it should have been done sometime during a 47-year period because so much death has been caused by them, so much unbelievable death. From Germany, too. Germany's been hit. Everybody's been hit by them. It's an evil ideology, and I've never been, look, I've done a lot of good things. So many people are saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. You see it in the streets of Los Angeles. They have thousands of people. I saw it the other day, pictures of Donald Trump. And I'm looking, I'm on the phone, probably talking to you. And I'm looking, and I see my picture. I say, oh, no, it's another, protest. I see and then I started saying, boy, they were very friendly people. And then I saw a woman hugging the picture of me. I said, what's going on? And it turned out to be these are Iranian people that live in the United States.
So many.
Thousands and thousands. You saw the rallies. And in New York, too, they had a big rally by pictures all over the place. the fact is that people are happy what we did. And you could never, and I've always said it, you could never have had true peace in the Middle East if Iran was allowed to go, even beyond the nuclear. If Iran was allowed to have all the, look at all the missiles they built. A lot have been now taken out by us, and a lot have been expended. But they had thousands of missiles in a fairly short period of time. And I'll go, two things. The attack that we did, known as Midnight Hammer, had we not done that, Iran would have had a very powerful nuclear weapon within 1 month. We did it. It was great timing, but, you know, and you've been able to see that too. The other thing was Barack Hussein Obama made maybe the worst deal I've ever seen, because he gave all power in the Middle East to Iran. He went the exact opposite way, and I terminated that. If I didn't terminate that deal, they would be sitting with a massive nuclear weapon 3 years ago, which would have been used already on Israel at least, and other countries also. And we wouldn't be talking about it right now. But if I didn't terminate the deal that Obama made, giving them everything, including plane loads of cash. Do you remember the airplane flew over there? It was a Boeing 757. There was 2 of them, loaded. They took out all the seats. It was loaded with green cash. So much cash that you could, it was in Virginia, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. They got all the cash from all the banks. They put it, and they flew it to Iran. I never knew a president had that power. I'm going to maybe try it sometime if it's okay. I think I'm going to do it. I'll fly it somewhere. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. 2 planes loaded from floor to ceiling, big planes, Boeing 757s, taken over there and given cash. In addition to that, he was giving them billions of dollars. But worse, he was giving them the right to have the path to a nuclear weapon. And that deal expired. A lot of people said, oh, you terminated it. Well, it was going to be terminated anyway because it expired. It gave them the right to have top-of-the-line nuclear weapon. If they had, because they're crazy, just like the people on my right during the State of the Union. I looked at them, I said, you're crazy? These people are crazy. And if they had a nuclear weapon, they would have used it. All right, how about 1 or 2 more?
Mr. President.
Go ahead, please.
Jean-Claude, you just heard that the president is thinking about punishing Spain. What are your thoughts spontaneously on this, and what can you do to,
Well, the answer on that is quite simple. We are trying to convince Spain to catch up with the 3% or 3.5%, which we agreed on in NATO. And as the president said, it's correct. Spain is the only one who is not willing to accept that. And we are trying to convince them that this is a part of our common security, that we all have to comply with these numbers, and this is 3.5 for military and another 1.5 for our military infrastructure. So Spain has to comply with
that. Spain has been very, very uncooperative, and so has UK. Now the second one is shocking, but this is not the age of Churchill. I will say the UK has been very, very uncooperative with that stupid island that they have, that they gave away and took a 100-year lease, having to do with perhaps indigenous people claiming the island that never even saw the island before. What's that all about? And they ruin relationships. It's a shame. It's and that country, UK, and I love that country. I love it. My mother was born there. I love it. My mother was born there. My father was born, right? He knows all about my father. My father was born there. So, you know, very places that you sort of automatically very feel warmly about. But the UK, what they're doing with energy and what they're doing with immigration is horrible. You have the North Sea. Somebody said yesterday, what would you do if you were the UK? Open up the North Sea. They got windmills all over the place that are ruining the country, ruining the landscapes, ruining the beautiful fields. Open up the North Sea. It's one of the greatest, think of it, they buy their energy from Norway, which gets the energy the oil from the North Sea. So Norway drills in the North Sea and sells it to UK. And UK has a better part of the North Sea. Open up that. And number two, illegal immigration. They got to solve that problem. And I must say, that's not only UK, that's other parts of the European Union that have the same problem. Immigration and energy. The energy is through the roof, the highest in the world. And the immigration is, I mean, you know, look, you have places where in the UK, you have a terrible mayor of London, terrible, he's an incompetent guy. But you have Sharia courts. You don't have Sharia courts. You don't want Sharia courts. You have Sharia courts adjudicating law. So it's very simple. Immigration, very importantly, immigration and energy. And you bring it back. Otherwise, you're not going to bring it back. Okay. One more. Go ahead.
I have a question for the Chancellor.
Yes, please.
To the Chancellor, Chancellor Merz,
Yeah.
you've called for unity and joint force in this moment against Iran. What does that look like to you? And then, Mr. President, where is getting a deal with Russia and Ukraine on your priority list right now?
Okay, where you going?
So we, as I said in Germany the last 2 days, we are supporting the United States and Israel to get rid of this terrible terrorist regime. And we are looking forward to a day after, and we have to talk about the strategy. What is following after this regime is away, and we have to strategize on this entire region. And we are having a high interest in common approach and common work and what we can do. And this is important not just for the Americans. This is extremely important for Europe and extremely important for Israel and their security. So we are really looking forward to find ways how to deal about the day after.
And as far as Russia, Ukraine, where is it on my priority list? Very high. We thought that, I thought it was going to be one of the easier ones. I've settled 8 wars, and actually maybe one more than that. But minimum 8 wars, big ones, potential India, Pakistan, big wars, very important, big ones. I thought this was going to be much easier than it is. There's tremendous hatred between President Putin and President Zelensky, tremendous hatred. I've seen a lot of hatred in my life, but I think this is about top scale. I believe it's going to happen. Sometimes I blame one, sometimes I blame the other. I think it's going to happen, but it's high on my list. Not in that it affects the United States so much, because it's very far away, but last week, last week and for the last 4 weeks actually, 32,000 soldiers died. 32,000. And it's been averaging 25 to 30,000 soldiers a month have been dying in that stupid war. And I'd love to see it ended. It's the worst that there has been since World War II.
If you can't get a deal, what will that mean for you?
All you can do is do your best, you know. It takes 2 to tango, and they have to get along. They have to be able to talk to each other. They hate each other a lot. That has an impact, you know. It really has an impact. It's bad for both. The saddest is that if the election weren't rigged, my election, that war would have never taken place. And you know what else wouldn't have taken place? Allowing 25 million people to pour through an open border, that wouldn't have taken place. A lot of things would have been different. But we're doing very well, and I think a big factor in this world and future factor is what we're doing right now with Iran. If we don't stop them, or if we didn't stop them, or if we didn't start, they've been decimated. But if we didn't do what we're doing right now, you would have had a nuclear war, and they would have taken out many countries, because you know what? They're sick people. They're mentally ill, sick people. They're angry. They're crazy. They're sick. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone.
Fantastic. We actually got everything inside. Hey, Brian, how are you? Glad that you're here. You already got your magnet from Honduras Island on the way to your place. You should be getting that this week. All right. Does anybody want to call in so that I can open the phone line? Does anybody want to call in and tell me what they think about this whole thing that's happening over here with Iran. If you want to talk religion, time is running short. Let me know. If you want to call in, I can go ahead and put the phone number on the display for you. Matter of fact, here, I'll put it on, and then you can choose if you want to call in or not. I'm going to give you guys a chance. All right, there you go. I think that should be maybe a little bit bigger. I'll put it right there in the middle. A little bit bigger, just so you guys can see it. Let's see if anybody wants to call in. I am more than down to talk. Anybody? Sometimes I get some people come in here. Hey, 1 minute. How are you? Good to see you there. I get people to call in and they want to comment all this hateful stuff, but and I give them a chance to call in. It's just they don't give me any information that will help me understand what they're trying to say, what they stand for. Everything that we have been saying has been confirmed by multiple sources, has been confirmed by a few people that we listened to today. President Donald Trump has the same facts. Other leaders from other countries also have the same facts. We have Fetterman from the Democrats. We got Republicans, same facts. The same people that that hate President Donald Trump are always the same ones that go against everything that he does or doesn't do. All right, hey, thanks for calling. Who's calling and what's your name?
Hey, Dennis, this is Jason Martin. How you doing tonight?
Hey, Jason. Thanks for calling. I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. How you doing?
Hey, buddy, I just want to say I love your show. I really think it's
thanks.
the right direction to go in and fight and help these Iranian people gain their freedom of what they lost back in 1979.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
It's unfortunate that we lose people in this conflict, but that is something that is bound to happen when you have these things go down.
Yeah.
So I just hope and pray that we get through this expediently, and I hope and pray that the Iranians do get that chance to change for the better their lives and get back to having peace and prosperity.
Amen. Absolutely. Absolutely. One thing that people don't talk about is that, this regime has been warring on us 47 years. They've been hosting, what's the word? Sponsoring attacks on the U.S. I don't know. I never really disliked Barack Obama. I actually supported him because, one, he's a minority guy. He's going to come in. He talks well. He doesn't talk bad. He talks well. And he promised immigration reform especially for us Hispanic people, right? Now, I've never been illegal, but, for those who are here on TPS and all this other stuff, he made this promise. So I supported him 100%. And I'm sorry, the call got dropped. And so, one of the things that I did not like about him was, one, he tried to sneak. Let me see if this is the same caller. Is it Jason still?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. The call dropped. It's okay. It's no big deal because I'm saying it for everybody to listen to. But, Barack Obama did some sneaky stuff. I don't know if you remember that deal he made with I think it was like 5 high-rank officers. Was it the Taliban, Al-Qaeda? I think it was Al-Qaeda. And, Barack Obama released all 5 of them, and they said the deal was for an American citizen. This American citizen happened to be a Muslim that hated America.
Yes.
You know, I
And
find that
shelled
very shady.
$1.4 trillion to the Iranian government, followed by Biden's $6 billion to the Iranian government. Like, they help fund the terrorist cells that Iran is responsible for.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, you know, I think Barack Obama. Let me see if I can find it. I think Barack Obama actually. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. If you're trying to call, wait your turn, please. Wait until I hang up the phone. Let me see. Okay, on money to Iraq. Let's see if I can find the video to Iran.
While you're looking that up, Dennis,
Yeah, go ahead.
like, you have to understand the previous administration's policy on Iran was don't. And we saw how that worked out.
I found it. I think it's this one. Let's take a look.
The Iran nuclear deal has been a major issue in this year's presidential election. Detractors blame Hillary Clinton and the Obama administration for caving to Iranian demands while receiving little in return. Now, revelations about U.S. payments to the Iranian government at an
Stand up and do something about it.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I'll play the video when you hang up. You know, that's the thing, right? That we, you know, people don't believe me when I say that I supported the Democrats before, and it's not because I support the party. I support the policies that they put in place. And President Trump, I say it over and over in my channel. He is using the same policies that Democrats had, that we agreed to have and supported. And so, you know, I happen to like Trump. I happen to know all the bad stuff that has happened in his life. I happen to know he was an entertainer, a businessman. You know, he got bankrupt, he got divorced, he cheated on the wives, had a bad time with his father, good time, and made up, and tough life, and this and that. And I know all of that. I know all of that. But what kind of Christian am I going to be if I can't believe that God can change the heart of a man? You know, and what I mean by that is, it's not, you know, making a man, forcing a man to choose God. No, changing his heart in a way of the way that he feels about other people. You know, at the end of the day, he still has to choose God himself. You know, he still has to say, I accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, and then he will be judged with the rest of us up in heaven by God. But, you know, he gets the choice, right? Nobody's forcing him to be a Christian. But the fact is that even the Pharaoh had his heart touched. The Bible says that every time Moses came in and says, let my people go, it says that after Moses did his message, he said that God hardened the heart of the Pharaoh. And because he was teaching Israel a lesson. He was teaching them to be strong, because when they leave Egypt, one way or another, they're going to want to go back to the same sinful nature that separate them from God in the beginning, in the first place. And so people don't understand some of the stories in the Bible. I think to try to use common sense, putting them together, you know. But, you know, it's something that I believe in, and I think that Trump is being used by God. Whether people like him or not, it is irrelevant. He can be the worst person on earth. But if Trump is the guy that God wants to put in office to guide us and to take us where he wants us to be, then that's the person he's going to do. Why did God allow Biden to be in office? So that we can see once and for all the lies that the Democrats have been telling us, so that we can see the hate that they have on a man that's been fighting for America, so that we can see the monsters that they have in office. You know, I know term limits. I want term limits for Congress people and senators. These guys are too drunk with power, so to speak. You can see them. Their ego.
Well, why, Dennis, why do they have such a long tenure? With the president can only serve 2 terms, Congress should be at the same thing as the president.
It has never made sense to me, bro. It has never made sense to me. If the president can be drunk with power, so can Congress, and they have proven it over and over. Very rare does somebody stay true to themselves, like Senator Kennedy, right? He's been in Congress for a long time. He's an old man, yet he still has his wits. Yeah, he's got less teeth, you know, he's got dentures and all that, but he still has his wits, you know, and he's for the people.
Dennis, that Reagan was also Democrat before he turned conservative, just like Trump was Democrat.
Yeah.
The same policies they had back then
Yep.
that Trump has now.
Yep.
And it's possible to change. But I will tell you this, in all honesty, when Trump was running against Hillary Clinton, people asked me about Trump, and I told them Trump is dangerous because he's a people person.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that could be dangerous. But his opponent was Hillary. Like, okay, I don't trust her because she betrayed her own people and the people in the military.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Trump was the obvious choice.
Yeah.
Whether you like him or not, he is brash, he is blunt and brutal. I'm the same way as the Shaft.
Yeah.
But I understand him.
Yeah. Well, you I think you were on my live, right, when I said that Reagan said that Russia and China and people, communists like them, they don't listen to diplomacy. They don't respect weakness. And we need to show strength. This is Reagan, and he made a big change in this country. I mean, it's sad that his mental decay happened, right? But I mean, he was right on point. And I think that's
Great communicator.
yeah, huge. I love listening to him, and he was funny too. I think.
I was listening to his Warriors pledge the other day. That was such a great speech.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, come on, he's an actor, man. He's he had read plenty of scripts on his life.
Absolutely. But you know what? It was still very ineffectual, and it still touches my soul to this day.
Yeah, man. He is. I think he's one of the greatest presidents. Maybe he didn't do what Trump is doing, but he's one of the greatest presidents as well. Absolutely.
It's pretty understand. No one's going to be perfect. There's not going to be a perfect president. They will make mistakes. But if they're doing things for the right, and more so for the right, then, okay, we can still get through this.
Yeah.
It's okay to disagree. But
absolutely.
Think about the policies. Think about how it's going to benefit you as a person and your family moving forward. Is it detrimental or is it beneficial?
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Thank you for that, man.
I'm going to get back on the live.
Appreciate you.
Watching your show. I'll see you in chat.
I love you, bro. Thanks for your support. God bless you. Let's see. I think somebody sent a text on here. Let's take a look. Do you think Trump is doing well? He can't with America. He got elected. He backed out of that. I know I voted for Trump because I thought he was going to be America back to God. More than that's where I am disappointed. Well, I don't think that any man can bring America back to God. That's not how it works. We need to make a choice. And, even though a lot of, people here in America are doing evil, I believe that we still have enough Christians or faith, and we have enough believers that, that God has mercy on us and he's still with us. As long as the few are still calling on to him and waiting on him and trusting in him, he's going to continue to be there for us. And yes, the rain falls on the wicked and the good. And these people reap the benefits of our fight, of our faith, of our prayers. But at the end of the day, if God wants to bless all good and bad, that is God's choice. And we are nobody to question that. Okay? So that's where I'm at with that. Let's go ahead. Let me see if I can find, let me see. There's a few here, a few videos. Let's go ahead and finish listening to her.
A new wrinkle to those critiques. Hari Srinivasan has more.
This week, the Wall Street Journal broke news that the Obama administration secretly airlifted $400 million in cash to Iran. The money was owed as part of a failed arms deal prior to the 1979 Islamic Revolution, but the payment coincided with the release of 4 Americans imprisoned in Tehran, raising questions about cash for prisoners. Donald Trump criticized the move today at his rally in Portland, Maine.
$400 million in cash being flown in an airplane to Iran. I wonder where that money really goes, by the way, right?
And I also want to point out that a lot of Democrats and a lot of people were saying that he was lying and he was making this up and this never happened. And a lot of people were trying to figure out if it was true. There's a lot of supporters that knew the truth, but there was a lot of people that did not know the truth about that. But now we know. Now we know the whole Russia collusion was a hoax. I want to see some accountability for that. Now we know that everything that Hillary Clinton was lying about, now we know, and nothing has happened. We have how many thousands of emails deleted? This whole BS is personal. No. You work for the government. I believe you have no personal nothing. You're responsible for using government equipment that they can track if they need to. I don't know, something like that. But all I know is that when you delete things that could exonerate you, things that can look fishy or make you look guilty and whatnot, Benghazi. We have all these things that have happened, no accountability. Bill Clinton, what he did in the office, well, Monica Lewinsky was not a minor, consenting adults. It is what it is. All this whole, pedophile thing that people want, okay, we'll continue to listen to that and see where that goes. But you guys need to stop saying that this is a smoke screen to hide away from the Epstein files. It has nothing to do with the Epstein files. That's a whole different mess. The whole country is not going to just be hung on one thing. There is life after the Epstein files. There is other things that are more important than the Epstein files. Let the courts deal with that. Let these guys fight it out. How about Congress starts doing their job? How about governors and senators start doing their job, help the economy in their cities and their state, and stop blaming Trump for everything? I'm sick and tired of hearing people complaining about Trump. Governor loser over here in Washington State. As soon as President Trump announced the tariffs, he blamed the atrocity that we have here in the economy of Washington State on tariffs, when tariffs hadn't even taken place yet. The union was backing them up. The losers of the union, they're just looking out for their interests. They're not looking out for employees. The only reason why they fight for employees is because they get a lot of money. It's all about the Benjamins, they say. It's all about the Benjamins. It's never for the well-being of the people. That's the problem. That is the problem. It's never for the well-being of the American people. They don't care. They don't care about Americans here in Washington. They don't care about anybody in the United States of America. They don't care. And you know what? And you will see this. Find out every time that they get stuck, that they can't debate, that they can't argue, that they can't excuse their incompetence, they always just go back to, I hate President Donald Trump. And then the Democrats, the libtards, not the Democrats, the libtards, they're happy. And they continue to support these incompetent people in government. We have a lot of work to do, but let's go ahead and take a listen to this because this has to do with what's happening right now in Iran.
I wonder where it really goes. Well, it went to either in their pockets, which I actually think more so, or toward terrorism. Probably a combination of both.
Late this afternoon, President Obama pushed back and defended the U.S. decision to send the cash to Iran. He spoke at the Pentagon.
We announced these payments in January, many months ago. There wasn't a secret. We announced them to all of you. Iran had pressed a claim before an international tribunal about them recovering money of theirs that we had frozen, that as a consequence of its working its way through the international tribunal, it was the assessment of our lawyers that we were now at a point where there was significant litigation risk and we could end up costing ourselves billions of dollars. It was their advice and suggestion that we settle.
For more on this, I'm joined by the reporter who broke the story, the Wall Street Journal's Jay Solomon. He's also the author of the forthcoming book, The Iran Wars, Spy Games, Bank Battles, and the Secret Deals That Reshaped the Middle East. Jay, thanks for joining us. It's not every day that the Secretary of State and then the President come out and sort of challenge the newsiness of your story. At one point, the President called this part of manufactured outrage. I guess the central question here is, was this part of this pre-negotiated payment for the arms deal in the late 70s? What has your reporting shown that this might have been something closer to a ransom payment?
I mean, the difficult
part of the story from the very beginning was the administration did announce back in January this $1.7 billion payment. But as far as the specifics, the mechanics, they've refused to answer, like, when did the money arrive? How was it spent? Was it sent in cash? Until through our reporting, we found out that actually this money was sent in pallets of cash on a plane secretly. And to this day, we're still trying to figure out the timing. When did this money arrive? And through this reporting, there is indications that it was sequenced, that basically these Americans weren't going to be released until that money arrived. So then it becomes a question really of timing.
So which leads you to believe that there was a quid pro quo, that the prisoners wouldn't be released until the cash was in hand.
I mean, that is part of what we're seeing. I mean, it is hard because various elements are true. And the White House says this was a decades-old, dispute over financing, over this arms deal. That is true. There are a lot of different disputes that are continuing between Iran and the U.S. on the financial side. But the particulars of how this was paid and when the money got there is still, they refuse to answer those questions. And they could easily resolve this by just saying, yeah, the money arrived then, it was paid in cash, and it was no problem. But if you watch the State Department transcript today, they were repeatedly asked, and they would just not answer that question.
You know, the president seemed to say that it was cash partly because our sanctions against Iran were working so well and that we don't have a banking relationship with them. I think he sort of said, well, because we couldn't write him a check.
I think there's probably truth to that as well. I mean, I think there are a lot of possible truths to this. Was it had to go in cash because there was no other way to get there? I could believe that. Was it also the situation where the Iranian side wouldn't give up these Americans until they got that money? I could see that. The Iranians, some of the generals themselves have publicly said that they only released the spies, as they called them, once the money arrived.
And there's also recent reporting in the Wall Street Journal this morning about the tension between the Department of Justice and the State Department in doing this at all.
Yeah, the Department of Justice is interesting because there seemed to be a consensus within the government that the amount of money was actually a pretty good deal, that, this was a 37-year dispute. The initial payment was, the principal was $400 million, and, just paying an additional $1.3 billion in interest was not a bad deal for the United States. But there was a lot of concern about the optics and how the Iranian side would spin it, that they were going to basically take the timing and the arrival of cash as a sign that this was ransom or a quid pro quo, and that they'd use this possibly in future cases. And I think what a lot of people in the U.S. government are concerned of, in the last 6 months, last year there have been 3 more Iranian Americans taken prisoner. There are another 3 European and Canadian Iranian nationals who have been taken prisoner in the last, I think, 3 months. So it's a cycle, and when you look back on the history of the United States-Iranian relations, going back to the revolution, you see this cycle. The American diplomats who were taken hostage, the resolution for that was partly the unfreezing of assets in the United States that were the Shah's money. The 3 hikers who were taken prisoner in 2009, their release was also tied to both a prisoner exchange and cash being paid. So it's not like this is a one-off. If you take a step back, it is a longer cycle.
All right, Jay Solomon of the Wall Street Journal. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
So you have that from PBS. You have other news outlets that were reporting this story. Now, this is what I got. This is what I'm talking about here, and I had to look up the article. I'm glad that the Google can still find it. But here is the deal, and it's something that I didn't like that Obama did. Back in May 2014, the Obama administration released 5 high-ranking Taliban commanders from the detention center at Guantanamo Bay from Cuba in a prisoner exchange for a U.S. Army Sergeant Bo Bergdahl. Let me take a look at this guy. Because I may have misspoken about him. Let's take a look. He's an armored deserter is the first thing that shows up. I hope that's not right. Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel today announced that the Army Sergeant Bo Bergdahl, Afghan captors have released him to the U.S. military after taking him prisoner nearly 5 years ago while he was supporting Operation Enduring Freedom. Now, let's see. Did Obama pardon Bo? Let's see. Regarding these charges, Bergdahl had sought a pardon from President Obama, which was not granted. Bergdahl was sentenced in 2017 to a dishonorable discharge, reduction to the rank of private, and forfeiture of $10,000 in pay as a result of his discharge status. He is ineligible for health services or disability benefits from the Department of Veterans Affairs. That is messed up. So he was a deserter, according to that. Wasn't this the guy that President Trump pardoned? Let's see. I know Trump pardoned somebody. Let me see. No, he didn't. He didn't pardon him either. So he is, according to Trump's comments, he is a disgrace. Wow. Well. I can't defend him. All right, and I'm not going to dive too deep into it. But, anywho, this is the person that Obama released 5 high-ranking Taliban members, which, by the way, I believe it says somewhere in the story here that 3 of them actually went back and supported that back in 2021. Let's see. The Taliban 5, the individuals released were Mohammed, blah, 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 blah. They were senior officials in the Taliban regime prior to the 2001 U.S. invasion of Afghanistan. The transfer terms, as part of the agreement, the 5 men were transferred to Qatar, where they were required to remain for at least 1 year. The controversy and criticism about this is the exchange was heavily criticized by members of Congress who argued that the administration violated the law by not giving 30-day notice. It's just so interesting that Obama also didn't give notice when he gave the money back to Iran. That's very interesting, isn't it? But Democrats like to go off on President Trump. President Trump, bad. Orange man, bad. Cheeto man, bad. Blah, blah, blah. You know what? I get it. You should be upset when something doesn't seem right, but you got to be fair. You got to be balanced all across the board. So Democrats like to complain about what Trump is doing right now. Trump. Okay. Well, they didn't really fight too much with Obama because he was a Democrat like them. While some reports indicated monitoring showed compliance with the agreement, other reports suggested some of the individuals attempted to reconnect with the militant networks. Some of these individuals subsequently re-entered positions of influence within the Taliban after the fall of Kabul. Now, I went and looked at a different article, and I found that regional affiliates of Al-Qaeda operates through a network of affiliates that are often autonomous but share the same ideology and consult with the core leadership, including the Jenim group of supporting Islam and Muslims in the Sahel, Africa, AKAP, Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, in Yemen, Akim, Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb, and then Al-Shabaab in Somalia. Even Somalia got a piece of these guys. Damn. And then we have alleged state sponsorship and relationships, alleged. While not officially employed by states, Al-Qaeda has maintained or is alleged to have relationships with certain state actors like Iran. Some Al-Qaeda leaders are believed to reside in or transit through Iran. The relationship is often described as one of convenience, with Iran potentially using the presence of Al-Qaeda figures as leverage against the U.S. to deter attacks on Iranian interest. Pakistan, historically, elements within Pakistan security and intelligence agencies were alleged to support or harbor members of the group, though this is a denied Pakistan. Sudan, Al-Qaeda was headquarters in Sudan, 91, 96, blah, 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 self-funding, Al-Qaeda. So anyway, so all these stories connect, and the reason for sanctions, the reason for money not being frozen in banks, and that Obama actually unfroze this after seeing all the history. After seeing all the history of these terrorist organizations, the countries that were being involved, and they still decided to release all those billions of dollars to Iran. I mentioned this, what was it, August, September, somewhere in September. I mentioned that all the money that Iran received from Barack Obama has helped them continue their terrorist attacks and continue to fund terrorist attacks on the United States of America. See, the enemy hasn't stopped warring on us. They just changed strategies. I see so many things that are happening in our country, unfortunately. There's so many things happening in our country, and people want to spend time fighting each other instead of coming together and trying to figure out what the hell is going on. I gave you a bunch of examples today on my lunch, right? Or, in the early afternoon. I told you religion. I told you illegal immigration. Everything has to do and is connected to everything. If I was just a person that I started this show and now I pretend that I listen to the news and I pretend to want change here in Washington State, okay, call me on it. But you know what? I've been doing this for a very long time. And I keep my ear on the ground, as they say, as the saying goes. And I keep my eyes open so that I know what's going on around me, because I don't like to be manipulated. I don't like to be controlled. BCJ, thank you for stopping by. Now get the hell out. BCJ screaming on his way out. There you go, buddy. Thanks for stopping by. Anywho, the right thing to say, BC, is, hey, good evening, people. How are you? I guess the pirates of Somali don't believe on being respectful to other people. I understand. No worries. But it's a religious problem. These people, remember, they made this fake religion to fight against Christian countries. Brian, I'm sorry. He just never leers, bro. He never leers. He needs to go back to the Leering Center and see if he can leer something different, because he's not leering at all. How many times does he come into this TDS 888 meeting here? What are we going to call this room? We're going to call it the anonymous ATDS. TDS Anonymous. There you go. You come into the TDS Anonymous show and you just can't be cured. You cannot be rehabilitated. BC Gay. Be nice, guys. Be nice. All right. But what I'm saying is true. Okay? So even though I believe that there's a fake religion, people can still practice whatever they want. Religion just means that you do something constantly on a daily basis or weekly basis, whatever you want to use. Believe what you want. It doesn't matter to me. Okay? I worry about my soul being saved. And that's it. Hold on. Let me mute this real quick. Sorry, I unmuted the video. And so if I do my homework to kind of understand something and you know more, then give me some information. Let me talk about it. Like for example, let's see, like Rush. Let me see, Rush, what did you say? And I got to Idaho State Parks because it's free. Washington State makes you pay for passes. Yes, this is true. Hey, Rush, what do you think about this? Here, let me change gears. Let's stop talking about Iran. Let's change gears for a little bit. What do you think about this? Here in Washington State, now I don't hike as much as I used to, but I do like being in nature. You know, we have some great trails here in Granite Falls. You know, we have some great trails that people can walk, but unfortunately, there has been some vandalizing because there's nobody at the parking spots. right? I think, and I think that it's very doable, and we just need to track it and we need to audit it. We need to get park rangers who are fit to run the trails. Not really literally run, right? But we can have a few park rangers at each park. And they can, they can alternate locations. But they got to be fit. They got to be able to walk the trails. So you give them a good livable wage and allow them to maintain these trails. I know that Parks and Recreation, they do a good job. I've seen a lot of great trails. But I think that, that we need to take care of our public parks, okay? Our state parks, national parks, all of that stuff. I think that we can have enough money for that. If we stop the spending on useless things, I think that we can definitely have a more safe trails that people can enjoy and walk. And yes, I think that the parking pass, I think is fair. It's $36 a year. If you just hike once a year, you pay $10 for the day. But if you buy the pass for $36, you can park at any state park. It depends on the pass that you buy, but you can park at any park anytime during the year, as many times as you want. And it is accepted in most places. So, I forget what the name of the pass is, but I have one. The one I have, I think, is the Discovery Pass. Okay, that's the one I have. But then there's another one that you have to purchase for certain state parks. But I think it's okay. I mean, as long as this money goes into, maintaining and, making sure that it's safe for the people to go in there, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Burning 47 says, did you see Pakistan declare war on Afghanistan? These people never lear, man. I'm telling you, man, this religion that they practice, it's not a connecting spiritual religion. It really isn't. There's nothing spiritual about it. Nothing. This whole fake pray. How can you go and pray 5 times a day on a mat, pretending to be very righteous and holy to the world to see you, and yet you're the most violent, angry person on the planet of the earth? How can you possibly say that this is a good religion, that you are a very spiritual person? If you're mad at somebody breaking the law, I get it. Somebody's doing something wrong. But that's what I think. Remember, Docito, nothing is free. That's great. If the state has been able to afford it, remember, Washington State and other states are not the same. I do have this into consideration. Washington State is an industrial state. Now, it used to be a farming state. It's an industrial state. And we have to bring some farm and protect our farmers back. Okay? I don't know how it can be done, but I think that China, in specific, no foreigner should be able to buy out farming land. If anything, they can lease it, but they cannot own it. And we are able to take, well, actually, it's on the Constitution. We can take this land back if there's a war or a crisis. I believe the government can take property away from Americans. I know it sounds like communism, but there is an act that allows for housing to be taken away from Americans, and I think it's war. I don't know. Don't quote me. Okay, but I think there's something like that. But that's the excuse that I put here for Washington State, that is more industrial than anything else. And there is other states, right, that are more country. The population size, this and that. I mean, at the end of the day, I think that every governor should be working with the president. Every state should be working with the federal government to make sure things are right. And unfortunately, blue states, they have a bad reputation of setting American citizens to the side and putting illegal immigrants in front. But I believe that. I believe that we need to have, even though if we don't if we don't want to charge people, I want you to listen to this, Dosito. If you don't want to charge people for hiking, you have to guarantee them that their vehicles will not be vandalized. You have to guarantee them that. And I think that we need to make sure that the park and recreations, the state has enough funding to be able to pay the wages for these workers. Again, hold them accountable. Make sure that there is a check-in, check-out, so to speak, or a flat salary, but audit them. And these people need to pass some sort of test, a physical test that allows them to walk these trails completely. They got to be in shape. They got to be in shape. Yeah, I know. What I'm saying is that if we charge is for the pass, for the parking. That's what we charge. We don't charge for using the park. It's for the parking. If you walk and you don't use the park to park your car, you don't have to pay. It's free. You don't have to pay. That is correct. If they drive in, they have to pay for the parking. That's what they charge for the parking, not for walking the trails. Okay, let's just make sure that we get clear with that. All right, let's see. What else did I have? Oh, that's right. I wanted to listen to Alan West, but I wanted to listen to a couple of videos here. Let's see. I don't even know if you guys are listening to this, but here we go.
That option, my friend, because the Constitution in Article 6, Section 2, which is known as the Supremacy Clause, clearly states that when the federal government is operating in pursuance thereof to the Constitution, to our rule of law, they are supreme over the states and lower jurisdictions. You are what the founding fathers would call a lower jurisdiction. So to say that you're not going to follow this immigration law, to say that you're not going to abide with and you're not going to cooperate with and coordinate with federal law enforcement to make sure that criminal illegal immigrants are not allowed back onto our streets, you're breaking the law. And there are penalties for that. There are consequences to that. There are repercussions. There are ramifications. Full stop. So when I hear someone such as the Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey say, and I think I'm quoting correctly, I will not enforce federal immigration law. You don't have that option, my friend, because the Constitution in Article 6, Section 2, which is known as the Supremacy Clause, clearly states that when the federal government is operating in pursuance thereof to the Constitution, to our rule of law, they are supreme over the states and lower jurisdictions. You are what the founding fathers would call a lower jurisdiction. So to say that you're not going to follow this immigration law, to say that you're not going to abide with and you're not going to cooperate with and coordinate with federal law enforcement to make sure that criminal illegal immigrants are not allowed back onto our streets, you're breaking the law. And there are penalties for that. There are consequences to that. There are repercussions. There are ramifications. Full stop. So when I hear someone such as,
there you go. You see what I'm saying? I believe the same thing. I don't know why people don't. Other people
Minneapolis
don't see it that way, but that's what I believe. And then the last one that we didn't get to cover, I want to make sure I cover them.
I wonder if
This is from California.
that's MAGA Republicans' fault too. We're starting to see right now the record revenues for the state of California. And I was looking at the governor's proposed budget. It seems like we're increasing on the personal income tax. Is that an accurate statement?
In terms of
Revenue.
the revenues,
Yes.
yeah. The large part of the increased revenues is from personal income taxes.
And then we're also, from the governor's budget, we're seeing an increase in corporate taxes, and it says because of improved economic forecasts. Is that a correct statement as well?
It is. I would just like to add, this is all relative to the Budget Act. So based on what we thought at the time in regard to the economy and revenues, this is a change from what was at that point expected.
So it's an increase in revenue on the personal income tax and an increase in revenue on the corporate taxes, correct?
That's correct.
Because of a positive economic forecast.
Yes, and again, change from what we thought at the mayor vision.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I wonder if that's MAGA Republicans' fault too. So when we're looking at this, we've got to see that this is the fourth structural deficit in a row, correct?
This is the fourth year in which we have a deficit.
And we're projecting 3 more years out, each one of those years being in a structural deficit.
That's correct. Beyond the budget year, yes.
$20 billion and in excess by the governor's office and by the LAO's $35 billion in deficits year over year. So what it sounds like to me is that this isn't a federal administration office. We know today, 1 year ago, the federal administration took office. But this is the 4th year in a row. So that means under the previous office before, we also had a structural deficit. So it seems like the common denominator in this is the legislative body and the governor's office. And this is up to us to handle the issues of our budget. This is not a revenue issue. As we just heard, we have had record revenues. This is a spending issue, and it's our job to make sure that we can rein that in. I look forward to being the budget vice chair to make sure that we can prioritize the needs of Californians. Thank you. And I wonder.
And Californians will still deny that the Democrats are screwing up their state. They still want to support them. They still, I mean, come on. I do see some people running for governor, and that I hope that they can make a change. I know my friend Berniel is going to try to run for 30, but we do have a governor running for governor of California, and then I think I have another person running for mayor, and they also want to make a change in California. I hope that they get what they're looking for. Let's see. That's all I got for you here on that. Let's see if I have another post here from X. I wanted to share something else with you, I think. Need to find it. Because you guys, some people were talking there in the chat, and I don't know if you guys were talking about me. Did you guys say that this is an AI video, or is this a real video right here? Anybody? This guy right here is a snake. You guys were talking about AI movies. I don't know if that was this video. Now I'm going to have to research it. All right, thank you, Possum. Yeah, you know, listen to what he says. The snake, listen to what he says. You know, if there's hearsay, yeah, I know. If there's a hearsay, you can't use that as a fact, as a you know, as the truth. You can't do that. Listen to the way he talks. Now, remember, this is the guy that tried to make Candace Owens look like she was a Nazi Hitler supporter by altering the recording of something that she has said. This is the same snake. And by the way, he is Chinese. I don't trust him, especially because he doesn't do anything for the American people.
So why are Republicans so interested in Bill and Hillary Clinton? It's because they're trying to distract from the fact that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files thousands and thousands of times. In those files, there's highly disturbing allegations of Donald Trump raping children.
He says that out like this is a fact. An allegation is an allegation. He comes in here in full support of the Clintons. Does that sound like a person that you should take his word for it? Think about this. How many times have people come on my show and ask me, if Trump is in the files and is proven to be what they say he is, will you condemn him? Absolutely, 100%. If he was incriminated and there is proof, and he is convicted with proof, without any reasonable doubt, then he is guilty. But this guy comes in. Listen to the way he says it, right? This is just it's just something to cover up. The Republicans are talking about the Clintons to cover up the fact that President Trump is a rapist of children. How can you say that? if Clinton was also in the files, if Hillary was also a friend of Epstein's, what are you saying? You're saying that what you say about Trump is the truth, and what everybody's saying about Clinton is not the truth? You cannot be a hypocrite. That's not balanced. That's not justice. That's not fair. You got to call it as it is. But he comes in here as a snake to defend something that, well, it benefits him. But that's crazy. Let's just listen to the way he comes in.
Are Republicans so interested in Bill and Hillary Clinton? It's because they're trying to distract from the fact that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files thousands and thousands of times.
We're trying to distract from the fact that President Trump is thousands of times in the file being mentioned. And he doesn't say that President Donald Trump is the whistleblower, the guy that put a stop to his parade and charade. Of course they hate him. Of course they're going to mention him. Of course they're going to talk about him.
In those files, there's highly disturbing allegations of Donald Trump raping children.
Allegations of Donald Trump raping children. And what did we find out about that woman that says that Donald Trump raped him at 13? We came to find out she's a crackhead, and she lied about it. And yet, Democrats and those people that hate Trump, they still bring that up as if it's a fact. That's how much they have convinced people. Did you know that's a Marxist? That's a Marxist strategy? To repeat a lie enough so that people can believe it. Nancy Pelosi, why is she retiring? Because she's too old. I get it. But she's slipping. She told us how the Democrats use the smear. Remember that? You know what? Why don't we let her say it? She explains it better than me. Nancy in the smear. Let's see if I can find it. It just doesn't go away. Let's take a look at this 3 minutes and 43 seconds. Here we go. And we'll continue with this video. Some C-SPAN. Might have to watch the commercial.
Ad.
Is it worth it to try and, I guess, like rehab your image in some of these Republican districts, or to sort of present what you've done, or are you guys more focused on just the
Well, people say to me all the time, you raise more money than anybody. Maybe not the Obamas and the Clintons, but I've not run for president.
They're going to play another commercial. Let me look at another one. Here we go.
In tonight's Fact or Fiction, we're answering another viewer question. Chris Brown from Oceanside wants to know if a video of Nancy Pelosi discussing a tactic called wrap-up smear is real. Here's the clip.
You smear somebody with falsehoods and all the rest, and then you merchandise it. And then you write it, and they'll say, see, it's reported in the press that this, and this, so they have that validation that the press reported.
Some websites are sending around this video as proof the Democrats made up the assault allegations against Brett Kavanaugh. That is fiction. The video, while real, actually shows Pelosi last year accusing Republicans of using wrap-up smears. She was not saying that it's a go-to strategy for Democrats.
So you hear that? It's fake. ABC says that's fake. Let's take a look at another one. Let's take a look. We don't want that. We don't want that. I played this clip before. Let's see. Let's try this one.
The difference is we don't engage in the politics of personal destruction. The fact is that if we just talk about the issues, for example, I think it would be interesting to people in these districts to know that the Speaker wants to take away the guarantee of Medicare. So I think talking about issues is where we should be. What is the difference in one person being speaker than another? It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You demonize, and then we call it the wrap-up smear. If you want to talk politics, you call it the wrap.
So ABC said that video was fake. Good night, Rush, babe. We're finished anyway. See, they say that the ABC said the video was fiction, right? That it was fake, and that she was talking about Republicans. That's not what she said. She was having a conversation, and that's not what she said. It is true, everything that she said.
Wrap-up smear. You smear somebody with falsehoods and all the rest.
She didn't say the Republicans smeared. No. She's explaining the smear.
And then you merchandise it.
Yeah.
And then you write it, and they'll say, see, it's reported in the press that this, and this. So they have that validation that the press reported the smear, and then it's called the wrap-up smear. Now I'm going to merchandise the press's report on the smear that we made. And it's a tactic, and it's self-evident. But I think I'm worth the trouble, quite frankly. I love the fray. I'm not disrespectful of people's views. I respect any positive things that people want to say, or even negative, as long as it's constructive.
What do you think? You think that ABC was telling the truth? You think they were telling the truth, like the speech from President Trump that they edited? Anyways, let's go back to the rat.
Of Donald Trump threatening to kill children. So I encourage your press to go look at these allegations. And
The smear, right? Who is encouraging the press?
I'm highly disturbed that Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche just got the law wrong. Yesterday, he said, essentially, that it is not a crime to party with Jeffrey Epstein. Well, that's actually not correct.
Well, okay, wait a minute. Just because you were at a party with Jeffrey Epstein doesn't mean that you were doing what Epstein does with other people. That's a big difference. If you tell me that I am guilty of something because I happen to say that there was nothing wrong with partying with President Trump, and I don't know anything about anything else, that doesn't make me look guilty. That has nothing to do with anything. But he is telling the reporters, he's telling his people that is a fact. He tells them a lie, a smear, and then he tells the press to go out and report that.
If Jeffrey Epstein was human trafficking minors for these sex parties, and you show up and patronize the establishment at that party, yes, you're guilty, because patronizing is part of the law, the federal sex trafficking law.
So because he said that there's nothing wrong with partying, all of a sudden he's the patron. He's patronizing Epstein's bad doings. And that's why, where does this President Trump threatening children to kill children? Where's the proof? Where's the facts? And you think that this is the first time that they hear this, that they read the documents? What the hell did they do for all these years with those files? Did anybody even look at them? Did they see what was in these files before they say that Epstein was guilty? They must have found some stuff to say Epstein is guilty. They say Ghislaine Maxwell is guilty. They found something to criminalize them, to arrest them, to say this and that. Okay, so why didn't anybody else? Huh? Why didn't anybody else? That's where I'm at. Let me see what you say here, Dosito.
Deputy General Todd Blanche just got that wrong, which maybe explains why they aren't investigating all these folks, including Donald Trump. He needs to read the law and investigate these people. He also needs to resign, not only for not knowing the law, but a massive, not only screw up, but the biggest privacy violation in history. They release a lot of pictures of minors unredacted, just violated the privacy of these girls.
And who was fighting for these documents to be unredacted? They were. Congress. They were. This is why Trump didn't want to sign off on these files unless they signed for it, because then they cannot do this. What he's doing right now, he asked for it. Trump didn't. Trump is not stupid. He's a very smart man. So I don't care what anybody says. It was Congress that pushed to release the files. It was Congress that pushed for everything to be done fast. It was Congress who keeps saying Pam Bondi is incompetent. And they made a mistake. Why? Because Congress is forcing the issue, and because every other American, rightfully so, want to know what the hell happened with these files. But the bottom line is that these files were already seen. They were already done. They were already checked, and everything was finished. Then we're going to come back and listen to the testimony of the guy that killed himself before he testifies. Very interesting.
It is uncalled for what they did. The one thing that they could not do under this law was to invade the privacy of these women now, who were girls at the time, who were victims of sex trafficking. Also, he met with Ghislaine Maxwell, moved her to minimum security prison, and then got a puppy for her. So for all those reasons, he's just got to leave the Department of Justice.
There you go. I raised my case. I raised my case. He is a snake. I don't trust him.
So why?
Shut up. Go back to China. That is why I don't trust him. Let me see if this is the video that we're looking for here, Dosito.
Opportunity. So I was distraught right after the election, but I'm now actually invigorated by the challenge and our ability to succeed in this challenge.
Let me ask you, I don't know if you have seen this. I don't want to blindside you with this. This is the latest statement, latest tweet, as you were just saying. The president-elect's latest unsolicited pronouncement on the intelligence community. This was his tweet just a little while ago tonight. You see the scare quotes there. The intelligence briefing on so-called Russian hacking was delayed until Friday. Perhaps more time needed to build a case. Very strange. We're actually told, intelligence sources tell NBC News, since this tweet has been posted, that actually this intelligence briefing for the president-elect was always planned for Friday. It hasn't been delayed. But he's taking these shots, this antagonism, this taunting to the intelligence community.
You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you. So even for a practical, supposedly hard-nosed businessman, he's being really dumb to do this.
You can't criticize these guys. They'll totally screw you. They have 6 ways to Sunday to screw you. And the funny thing about it is that he was right. Chuck Schumer was telling the truth in that moment. And then he goes on, which is really quite something, to be like, look, the most liberal Democrat to the most conservative has to be for the intelligence community. That is it right there. That is the allowable range of opinion, okay? You can be as liberal as you want to or as conservative as you want to, but you dare not question the CIA.
Man, I don't know, man. But this girl right here, man, she is evil. I have listened to her tell the news, and she is evil. Very, very evil. Very evil. Let's see. Let's play another one. Let's see. Here we go. Let's see. Let's take a listen to 53 seconds. Let's see. Where is it? Here we go. Here we go. This is for my libtards on the chat. Here we go.
We love Nevada. We love Nevada. Thank you. A couple of months ago, we weren't expected to win this one. You know that, right? We weren't. Of course, if you listen to the pundits, we weren't expected to win too much, and now we're winning the country. And soon the country is going to start winning. We won the evangelicals. We won with young. We won with old. We won with highly educated.
We won with highly educated.
We won with poorly educated. I love the poorly educated.
Is that the one you're talking about, libtard?
We're the smartest people. We're the most loyal people. And you know what I really am happy about? Because I've been saying it for a long time. 46% with the Hispanics. 46%. Number one with Hispanics. Evangelicals.
One more time for the libtards on the chat. The poorly educated. Here we go.
We won with young. We won with old. We won with highly educated. We won with poorly educated. I love the poorly educated. We're the smartest people. We're the most loyal.
Me too. I love the poorly educated as well, like my libtard pirate, BCJ. Yeah, I love my poorly educated like BCJ as well. Isn't that wonderful? Doesn't that make you love your president even more? Trump was right about everything.
Loyal people.
One more time.
We won with highly educated. We won with poorly educated. I love the poorly educated. We're the smartest people. We're the most loyal people. And you know what I really am happy about? Because I've been saying it for a long time. 46% with the Hispanics. 46%. Number one with Hispanics.
We love the poorly educated. We love you, BCJ, you and your Somali pirates, but you got to get the hell out of the United States of America. Enough with the fraud. If there is any good Somalis, stay here. We'll love you. But all the poorly uneducated, low IQ pirates who are committing fraud, go back to Somalia. Go back to Somalia and keep being BC gay over there. Man, Robert, you messed up my speech. Oh, I love the poorly uneducated. The poorly educated. I love my poorly educated. You know what the problem is with the poorly educated? They didn't lear anything at the Leary Center in Minnesota. They just never lear. We love the poorly educated. You know what I'm saying? We love the poorly educated, but we're not going to put up with their BS. We won with the Latino community. All Latino, 46% of the Latinos supported deporting illegal immigrants, especially the criminals, the hardcore criminals. If the Democrats would stop protecting criminals in jails in the so-called sanctuary cities, we wouldn't have any violence on the street. Everything will be pacific the way that it's supposed to be. 100%. I love ICE. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. And but for those that have a TPS, DACA, let's get some papers for them. If you don't know, man, I love my people. I want everybody to be here, but can't do it. All right, Robert, I will go ahead and feed you on that tomorrow. Guys, thank you so much for being with me today. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless the USA. I'll see you in the next one.